Chat room's good. Everyone's good. Here we go in 3, 2, 1.
The West, a land of opportunity, adventure. A place where you can be a hero, a scoundrel, and anything in between.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Core. This is Core for Thursday, April 7th. Yeah, 2022. Can you believe it's the year 2022? Weird. Time is in a bottle. None of this makes sense. 309 is the episode, and we're happy to be here. Thanks for joining us. Quick update. Breaking news. Okay?
Oh. No.
Some stuff came out of Sony. It's not... I haven't been able to confirm or deny much of this yet, but apparently they've named some of the games that will come out with their subscription service we talked about last week. So I'm just going to get these out of my system early here. We got, at launch, we plan to include such titles as Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. We're working closely with and then that's kind of the quote. There's other stuff in there. They talk about third parties and stuff. So that seems good. You know, I mean, I kind of expected that, but they didn't mention the Ghost of Tsushima, which didn't surprise me, but I could see Spider-Man being a big reason why you'd want to get that thing. Actually, more so after I tell you what I played this week, because I got in a weird place this week with Spider-Man. But anyway, there you go. Some hint.
I got in a weird place with Spider-Man. That's, quite a sentence. Oops.
Me and Peter Parker.
In an elevator.
There's some stuff happened with Spider-Man this week that I didn't expect and was not prepared for, but I'm there. I'm here now to tell you that me and Spider-Man were fine. We're getting along, and we'll get into all of that and more right now. Okay, so before we start, quick happy birthday to Luis Omar Padilla.
Happy birthday.
In our community. Yeah, I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. Yeah. Also, what are you going to say?
I don't want to steal Luis's thunder. It's also my mom's birthday.
Oh, it's your mom. That's right. It's your mom's birthday. Happy birthday to Bo's mom. That's awesome.
Happy birthday, Bo's mom.
Yep.
And Luis.
Yeah, and Luis, both of you. We hope you have a fantastic birthday. My daughter's birthday was this week. There's been about 10 birthdays in my life this week. People I know and like and stuff, and that includes you, Luis. And
what was going on 9 months ago?
A lot of
banging.
Yeah. I mean, like, does anybody else do that when you find out it's like a birthday central time? You go, well, what was 9 months ago?
Yeah, there must have been something.
Like, try to reverse engineer, like, what event.
It was November.
Don't you think
it gets cold in November?
It does. Do you think people will be doing that a lot more? Like the pandemic 9-month thing is definitely a thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of pandemic babies.
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's right. You do. You're a pandemic dad. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Pandad? Is that Pandad for
Pandad.
sure?
Pandad. Yeah.
Pandadic.
Daddemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's, we're going to have another one of those. But yeah, you do have to ask that question. I mean, my daughter was born on the 5th of this month. So this week. And,
it gets cold. You're like, let's cuddle, and cuddling turns into other stuff. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
at least you're in Canada. That's when it gets really cold. Then you're like, it's summer. I don't want to cuddle. Get away from me. It just doesn't lead to that as much or as accidentally. But it gets cold, cuddling, and then you're off to the races.
I'm going to admit something on the air that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it.
Okay. Good.
Because you guys brought me here. So
let's get it.
Here it is. Why? So my sister hates this, but my sister Wendy, she's on TMS all the time. Professional. She's great. She's a therapist. She's really smart and awesome in every way. Great sister. Great relationship. We've always been close. All of that being said, my oldest daughter was conceived in my sister's bed while she was out of town.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she hates that because I bring it up and go, hey, it's Taylor's birthday. You know what that means? She's like, please don't remind me what happened that weekend.
It's sort of weird. There's a weird psychology that you don't really ever think about when it comes up. Like I had a house party and a friend of mine was banging someone in my bed, and my chief concern was, not in my bed, it's mine. And then I was like, kind of, who cares? Like, why was that a hang up? And I realized it's just I never considered that could happen.
Yeah.
And because it happened. I was like, I felt like I had to react in some way. And now that I think about it, I'm like, whatever.
You were worried
You know.
the bed was going to be all spermy.
Things can be cleaned up.
Yeah,
it's
but
not soiled forever.
But
it's
you were
fine.
worried. You were worried that you were going to get it, climb in there, and it was going to be all spermy on your legs and stuff, right?
No, it was more of a territory thing, right? It was like, because I didn't.
It was just like, how dare you? That's my domain.
How dare you have better time than I do at my own party? In my own bed. It's like it's Goldilocks or whatever. Someone's been eating my porridge. It's like, how dare you? And then as I got older, I was like, why was I so hung up about that? I made such a big diva stink about it. It's no big deal.
She still makes me shut up about it when I talk about it. So
we're pretty sure that my son exists because of a late to arrive pizza.
Oh wow, really? I don't want to know. Wait. Maybe I do want to understand more of this. So hold on. There was a pizza and it was late.
Well, we were waiting for pizza.
Okay.
And, you want the pizza there and it's taking a while.
Yeah.
And you got to fill the time.
Wait, you conceived while you're waiting for pizza?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's epic, dude. I mean, they definitely give you enough time. If you got 30 or 40 minutes, that's enough it's enough time for me anyways, I'll say. Enough time for me a couple times over. I can have 10 babies probably in that time.
Oh, my Lord. Think of all the pregnancies you could cause in that time. That's amazing.
It's still pretty epic that you even chance it. Like, sometimes I feel like I order food and I'm like, I'm kind of dirty. Let me take a shower. And then I'm like, no, there's only 20 minutes. I'm not that bad. The driver won't notice.
Yeah, he won't care.
And you had
It wasn't really a plan. It was just like, we're standing around. We're expecting, delicious food in the near future. We're bored.
Yeah.
Nobody else was in the house at the time. Like, I think the kids were off with their grandparents. So it was like, well, what else are we going to do?
Yeah. Lights out, wieners out. I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's an awesome story.
I appreciate the plural of wieners. Lights out, wieners out. Don't explain it. Don't think about it. Just let it.
That pizza was probably incredible as well, because post coitus pizza, hell of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, hey, you want to talk about a good day?
Yeah.
Like, the wait for the pizza was great, and when it was all done, there was pizza.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a win-win, honestly.
Yeah. And the beginning of an embryonic growth of a tiny little baby boy who's adorable and amazing. Yeah. And look at that little guy.
So not only you're pandemic dad, you're a pizza dad.
Yeah, a pizza dad.
It's a pizza baby.
Yeah.
I don't want to really say that. It sounds rude.
It sounds pejorative, but I know what you mean.
It is a pizza.
I know what you mean. No, it's totally fine.
True.
Like, there's probably pizza nutrients that were being digested at the same time as conception. So there's
I mean, I like to think that is what motivated the creation. It was
you were so excited about the
pizza. Yeah, exactly.
I want
wait for this pizza.
I want to make sure Luis reaches out and lets me know how he feels about his birthday announcement leading to all of this.
Yeah.
It's gone
Happy
places.
birthday. Here's a conversation I'm sure you wanted.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be excited to hear all of that extra stuff he wasn't planning on, but we'll find out when he sends us a follow-up. All right, so quick thing. The 19th is the day that Blizzard Entertainment, the beleaguered, embattled developer that we all have strong connections to, but recent irritation with, is going to announce the new expansion for World of Warcraft. That's happening on the 19th. And this isn't so much news. Most people know about it. But I have been asked by some folks over there to interview someone for Core. I don't know who the person is yet. They're going to let me know. But somebody on the WoW team is going to sit down with me for a one-on-one, and we're going to talk about whatever that announcement is. So they're going to do the announcement in the morning, and then that afternoon, I'll record a half hour, however long I get to have them there. 20 minutes is my guess, and we'll put it up on the feed.
Let's hope that stays active after today's conversation, but okay.
Yeah, so I don't
go to PR, be like, we want to interview on the show where they talk about pizza babies.
He's not talking to the one that has a pizza baby, is he?
Yeah, that's not the one, because we can't have pizza baby on the thing. No, don't worry. I'm the one that had sex in my sister's bed, so it'll be fine. Yeah,
totally different person, different scenario. Yeah,
but anyway,
I think that's okay. I think it's all right.
It'll be fine. For those who are like, Scott, you can ask a bunch of really hard, nasty questions about workplace harassment and all this stuff? No, I'm not. This is a dev on a team who's not there to answer questions like that. We're going to talk about that game, but I am going to ask some hard questions about what are they doing to revive interest in that game? What are they doing with this expansion that'll make me want to jump back in, if at all?
Yeah.
Like those kinds of questions I will absolutely be asking. But yeah, if you're going into that expecting me to, go full Jason Schreier here and get to the nitty gritty of why Bobby Kotick tried to kill somebody or whatever, it ain't happening. It's not in my wheelhouse.
You gotta know, you gotta know the audience. You don't. It's like when people go after PR people for decisions that clearly management made. It's like, well, that's
exactly.
That's not why they're here. That's not what you're going to do.
No, and we got somebody who wants, is making a game and is on the team of people who they're just trying to make a cool thing, and as much as
if it's Bobby,
yeah.
Then you should ask him some hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, if it was Bobby Kotick, yeah.
But that would probably be a surprise to everybody.
No, John, we won't ask Bobby any hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
We'll ask him about WoW.
Yeah. No, if it was Bobby Kotick, I guarantee you. Well, first of all, this would be a much huger thing that I'm announcing right now. And it would probably be a bigger deal across everything, not just this show. But yeah.
Great for the show. We'd be everywhere.
I could never just talk to that guy about boring stuff or work a day
What was
things.
it like?
Don't say that. We wanted to come on the
Moneyball?
show first. You got to say I totally just ask him about WoW questions.
Yeah. I'm sure that's all I could stick to. I would never veer off into any other territory or ask him about his $300 million golden parachute that's waiting for him to leave or any of those things. Yeah, I mean, the fact is I've been, vocal about my problems with the current state of things over there and happy about some things that have improved and hopeful about the Microsoft thing. This is all out there and on the sleeve. So the fact that they still came to me and said, "Hey, we'd really like you to do this," is, I'm going to take it seriously and do it. And they know I'm not, I haven't been over here dressed like a shaman pretending to be, WoW faithful or whatever. But I am very curious what that game's going to do in the coming years. So
Is that what you do if you're WoW faithful? You podcast dressed as a shaman?
Yeah, you dress as a shaman, and you got the totems, with the totems.
Totems.
Those. Anyway, so that's coming up. That'll be on the 19th. Probably put it up the same day is my guess. That's sometime that afternoon. So I'll let you know if something goes weird, but that is the plan.
That's exciting.
Yeah, should be good.
So we should be seeing something next week about the expansion.
There's already a bunch of leaks, and so depending on what you believe,
something official.
Something official will happen on the 19th that morning. Yes.
If you believe the leaks from Blizzard themselves, the next expansion is called Dragonflight.
Yeah, it appears to be Dragonflight or Flights or Dragon Flight is what it's called.
Yeah, Dragonflight, not
Dragon
plural.
Not plural. Yeah. And
band meeting?
And we
band meeting.
Band meeting.
They're all going, finally, it's time for a band meeting.
All the sand came out of my shoulder pad already. I'm not any good to you people. What was his name? He lost all his sand. I don't remember his name. I've lost all the names of the Dragonflight.
Dormu? I don't know.
No, it may have been.
He's a sand dragon, right?
Yeah, and he had when he lost his power because whatever happened there, he he took off one of his pauldrons and it just leaked a bunch of sand.
Yeah, sand just poured out of it. He's like, I've lost my power to hold sand in my shoulder.
Which I always thought was kind of funny, in a real basic way. Like, is that what you're doing? I mean, are you okay,
yeah,
bud?
Time, sand.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a sand dragon or a time dragon.
Oh, that's right, time dragon. Wait, but what's her name? Little Millie Jr. What's her name?
She's a time dragon.
She's a time dragon as well. There's a whole flight of the dragons, per color. I think you got
lost
time
all
dragons.
That stuff.
You got life-giving or life-binding dragons. You got Deathwing dragons. I guess
Deathwing was Earth.
Yeah,
He's
an Earth
dragon.
He was Earth.
Yeah,
the black dragons are Earth dragons.
Yeah, that's why they were the corrupt ones, because they were in the ground with the old gods.
Oh, that's right. So
they were closer to them.
Yeah, it bled over into those
and
guys.
There's the Emerald Dream dragons. I think the green ones.
They're into nature and sleeping.
Nature, and the nature of sleeping,
and created Tempur-Pedic mattresses.
Yep.
And there's blue dragons that give you massive buffs to your spell damage with Hearthstone.
Yep. Yes. Magic. Yep. That's what they do.
Yeah, we got it all
They're
now.
good at
See,
Magic the Gathering.
what else are you guys going to want me to ask on the 19th? We've just
Like,
done,
look,
we've
this
uncovered
is
it all.
this is the kind of knowledge you accumulate when you clearly hate a game for as long as I.
Well, I mean, it's good that we're having this conversation ahead of it because the Spankster's going to be called Dragonflight. Now you won't be like the Time Glass guy.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd
he's
have to
the
really-
guy that had the
I'm
sand
dragon.
that poured out of his shoulder in this game.
I do. I mean, part of me wants to ask that though, if I'm being honest, but I won't. I won't do that.
You're going to do fine. You're great. They
Yeah,
love
it'll be
you.
fine. I'm not worried
You're,
about
you're,
it.
you're good for them, and yes, I
Yeah,
think
and
we're pretty
they've you know,
respectful
I
of
really the
space.
people that are there, the people that work there on the ground, I have huge respect for those guys. They're all great. I'm not worried about any of that. But anyway, watch for it coming up soon. Very exciting. Okay, Remedy. You know Remedy. The developer, they got the Max Paynes.
Jason
and the,
Mraz sang about them.
sorry, different Remedy. I'm sorry to tell you, inform you,
Oh,
different Remedy.
Okay, different remedy.
How's that song go?
different Remedy game
The
developer.
remedy of the serious of the thing without a foundation.
I love that you got that weird reference. That makes me so happy.
Is that- do I
but
have
that
the right
wasn't
one?
just John's just saying stuff again.
I guess I got the right
I'm
one.
just really happy about it. Yeah, no.
All right.
But yeah, Remedy is remaking Max Payne 1 and 2.
Yeah, Max Payne 1 and 2 getting remade in the they're doing it in the Control engine, which is a very nice engine. Control is a beautiful game. And my first experience in a modern game, because I did play the Quake 2 thing, but a modern game using ray tracing, Control was the first time I ever saw anything in there with that, and that was impressive. I've seen other stuff since, but anyway, they're doing that. It's through an agreement with Rockstar, who technically owns those old IPs. They own the Max Payne IPs, but they're doing it, and I don't know what they're going to sell these for. None of those details are released, but they're going to make them like a remake. And
I mean, I guess the big question is Max Payne through the entire first game still going to look like this?
is it going to go?
No, he looked all right in Max Payne 3.
Yeah, in 3 he was normal, but in 1 and 2 he was the whole time.
Didn't he have a bald head in 3? Isn't that when they
Yeah.
were like, we're going to change it up?
Now I got to
He's
look
gonna
it up.
be
Yeah,
in a
but he
Hawaiian
also-
shirt and
It was a pretty big graphical jump between 2 and 3.
yeah.
Let me see what Max Payne, because Max Payne 1, I think we all know what that looked like. Max Payne 2, oh, he was much more subdued in 2. Oh,
He had a normal face in 2.
yeah, he's just a dude in 2. In fact, 2 looks a lot better than I remember it looking here. Look at this screenshot, unless this is somebody screwing around with me.
I
but-
mean, they're using
No,
the word,
that's what it looked like. Yeah.
okay.
I mean, they're using the word remake,
Yes.
not remastered. So I'm expecting them to take it seriously.
yeah. Well, plus a remake implies a lot when
The remake is an important word, and
I
you know,
agree.
they need to respect the bar set by Square Enix for remake, because if every Yahoo game developers make some remake that is really a remaster, ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just ruin the word.
Now, 2 and 1, I'm just putting the two faces up here to compare.
There he is.
There was a
Yeah.
I mean, that's even a generous high res. Like, that's a remaster.
Oh yeah, that's the
one
HD.
face.
That's the PC version that you can like max out to better resolutions and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but
These
that
are not
face,
the same man.
it just looks like a guy who can smell a fart. He can
Yes.
smell it. It might be his. It could be the gangster he's after. I don't
But
know.
It's a fart, but also like a particulate onion cloud as well. Like that's fart plus.
that is fart
If
plus.
if the fart was a subscription, it would be fart.
It'd
plus.
be fart plus. Yeah.
It's not a fart essential. It's fart plus.
Here's my question though. Those two don't look like the same human beings. Was 3?
No, because the first one's a developer. In fact, it will weird you out because if you watch interviews with the developers, that guy comes out and you're like, what the hell is Max Payne doing talking about this video game? Why is he on stage?
Are you kidding me? Oh my
No,
gosh,
I
you're
know.
right. Look at this guy. Okay.
What's his name?
I'm gonna show you the picture. I'm not sure his name though. I just searched for Max Payne real guy and it gave me this. That's the
yeah,
dude.
it's just
Oh, yeah.
him, and he's one of the developers there, and
They digitized
he
his
comes
face.
out and talks about the game all the time, and it's very weird to see him talk about the games because you're just like, wait, you're Max Payne.
Oh, that's hilarious. I love that. This is the greatest day of our lives that I'm learning this for the first time. I had no idea this was based on a real dude. I mean, obviously I knew it was a real dude because you could tell it was a photo, it was digitized or whatever, but just look at the grimace on that guy. Like what the Doom guy's got nothing on him. Look at that.
Yeah, they looked at a bunch of photos and they said, "This is the one." Like even for that day and age,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, they could have. It wasn't expensive to take another photo, right? Like they could have just like. To me, I look at that and I go like, "Let's try taking another photo."
Yeah.
But they were like, "That one, that's the one,"
That's the
Yeah.
one.
and
It
we
almost
all
looks
think
like
that.
they
Even back
Mario
in the day,
64'd it. Like,
Yeah. A little bit.
right?
A little bit. Did
Right?
you guys play 3? I played 1 and 2, never played 3. Was 3 good?
I never played 3. No,
I
3
played
wasn't Remedy. It went to Rockstar.
Yeah, that was
for 3.
Rockstar, right?
So it was.
And
Pretty
it had the
disconnected.
GTA shooting, which I didn't like all that much.
Oh,
I don't like
didn't
GTA
know.
shooting.
I didn't know that. Did it have the not? It wasn't like slow down John Woo.
Oh yeah, it has
shooting?
slow down, but it's the feel they have for their shooting in their games. I always
Okay.
hated it.
Well, there's that
It's not-
360
I-
ass looking gooby face kind of tech of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think Remedy likes what happened with it either, because if you play Alan Wake, you can actually find pages that are part of a Max Payne story, and they kill him off in the pages in Alan Wake.
Oh, really?
And that came out, I think, either before or right around the time of Max Payne 3. So it was like, hey, here's how Max Payne dies. That other game is non-canon.
Well, they shouldn't have sold it to
Oh.
him then. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel for him, but it's not like you guys could have kept your IP and kept working on it.
Well, why is Remedy wait?
Rockstar owns it now. So this deal they're doing is an agreement with Rockstar to redo the first 2. And obviously it means someone's bound to make a whole bunch of money here is why they're doing it. But that's
Control. They have their own engine. They're not using like Unreal or anything like that.
no,
for
Control's
Control?
their own thing. Yeah.
Huh.
Well, it's based on the Control engine is a iteration, or it's evolved from what was the sorry, you just said it, Alan Wake engine. And then prior to that, well, for all I know, this tech all started
Remedy's proprietary Northlight engine.
with Northlight. That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
I
It's
didn't
nice.
know.
It's a very pretty game. Control is. So I suspect this will look pretty good and be fun. I like that. I like the there's a purity to the point of those first 2 games, which was just get revenge and dive real slow and shoot people in the face. Like there was a real just like purity of purpose to that game. And if that's what they're aiming for here and they want to make it look nice and shiny, totally down with it.
I'd be interested in it. Yeah, I loved Alan Wake. And if you can make that game, the bullet time and the destructible environments and all the particle effects when you're having big shootouts look really good, I'm extremely excited to see what they do with that.
And they're redoing Alan Wake as well, right? That's happening separately?
Yeah. Did that come out?
Shoot. Hold on.
I don't think that was a remake. I think that was a remaster, just to continue to use the words between something that's amazing versus something that's
passable,
disappointing.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think it did. Okay, yeah, boy, it sure came out without much fanfare. Here it is. IGN had a review at the time. Let's see what they said. Oh, their subtitle is Assault and Batteries. Get it? Do you get it?
Yeah.
They gave it a 7. Good. Alan Wake Remastered is a fairly inessential upgrade for existing fans, but this moody mystery is still worth a look for newcomers. So, that's fair. They're not going to.
Yeah, I think Alan Wake is just it's kind of a weird sell to people.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think it gets people too excited.
I agree.
But there's some cool things in it for sure.
So anyway, that's coming soon. We don't have a date, but that is getting worked on. If you also like adventure games, good news. Ron Gilbert is making a new Monkey Island game, Return to Monkey Island.
I'm so excited about this, Scott.
Yeah.
I put this in here totally selfishly just because I love the Monkey Island series. He had said, I guess, a long time ago that if he ever is going to make another Monkey Island game, he'd announce it on April Fool's Day. He did.
Yeah.
He stayed true to his word, except it's not a joke. It's actually going to be done. And I love the Monkey Island games. I think the art from what they've shown, just a little bit of it, looks really, really good.
I love this style. It's so cool.
It's got Murray, the demonic talking skull, in it already, which already implies that they are going to include some stuff from post Monkey Island 2 games. I'm really like, I think this series is so good. It's and Devolver Digital. That was the other thing.
Oh yeah.
Really,
I feel like they have not
about.
yet. Though that's a weird company because I've yet to play a game where I went, wow, this is trash. Can't believe Devolver is involved in this. Everything they put out, even the cheapest little 2D looking side scrolling retro game, is quality stuff. And that actually helps sell me. I have a weird affinity for them. I think those guys are rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a good track record.
Yeah. Plus, I'm gonna agree with you on the art style. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. So yeah, we were just talking. We did a whole deep dive on King's Quest for Play Retro this week, and just talking about the kind of origins of point and click adventures and all that. And at some point, we'll do a retrospective on all things Monkey Island. But the fact that it's Ron Gilbert coming back to his old stomping grounds is, he's a little hit and miss over the years in terms of projects, but very exciting. So if you're looking forward to it.
At any point during your King's Quest talk play, Graham, watch out, a poisonous snake?
Is it the owl?
Yeah.
Yes. We talked about that shitty owl on the episode and how everyone hates that owl.
I put a link to him saying that in the Discord if you want to just share that.
Yeah, let's play it.
Wonderful. You should always have this at the ready.
No, this is really bad. Here you go, everybody. Enjoy this. Hold on. It's really something else. Okay, whoops, I need volume. I have no volume. Why?
Poisonous snake.
Okay, let me pull it back. Try it again.
Graham, watch out! A poisonous snake.
Pretty good.
You know why? So we looked it up. The CD-ROM version of that game, this was 4, right? No, 5.
Yeah,
the
5.
CD-ROM version of that game, which was still kind of a new thing. CDs were, these single speed. Nobody knew what to do with them yet. And nobody was hiring voice actors for anything. So they just used people around the office. And that guy is the best they could find for this, which is so embarrassing for everybody involved, especially him.
Graham, watch out! A poisonous snake.
Poisonous snake. I love it so much. I love King's Quest V. I played the shit out of that game. Oh my gosh, I love that game. I still, to this day, I'll sometimes go get a glass of water and I'll go, life-giving water, nectar of the gods, which is just me quoting more crappy narration from that game.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so bad. And those games, so Monkey Island was kind of notorious for, it's weird. It's got dumb things. One of the items you get is a rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle. Like, how do you use that? Where are you going to use that? What's its application?
Sure.
But you really can't die. You can if you do some really extreme things. Like, I think there's one part where Guybrush says he can hold his breath for 10 minutes. And he winds up thrown underwater. And if you do sit there for 10 minutes, he will drown. But like, generally speaking, you cannot die in those games. But King's Quest is the exact opposite.
Oh yeah, die all the
time. You walked onto this screen, you're dead.
Yep.
You touched that thing, a bear comes out of the woods and eats you. It just doesn't even make sense half the time what kills you.
Well, at least in those cases, you'd gotten to an era where we could have save points. In the early games, like 1 and 2, they didn't have any way to save anything. No. In those games, you just died. You had to start over. Yeah. You were done. I mean, they were insane. So yeah, I'm expecting this to have a lot of modern sensibilities, but to also be a pretty great throwback writing and character wise. And yeah, I'm excited. I like a good adventure game. I'll just go on record and say it out loud. Why is my echo?
I'm a Space Quest guy myself.
See, Space Quest rules. It's so good.
Space Quest is great. Yeah.
Oh, I just want to play it right now. Let's do that.
I've been meaning to do like a playthrough of the series. They're all. I haven't played the last one. There's
It's been a while.
Shit. It's been a while. There's one where you actually captain a janitor ship, but it's not that one. There's one after it that I didn't play.
Space Quest Collection on Steam is pretty cheap, I think.
Yeah, I have it. Like, maybe I'll even start it after I'm done with Elden Ring. But like, I've been. It's been on my drive. I'm ready to play through it.
That's another one where death is possible, right?
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Space Quest. You die all the time. Yeah. Like, you walk in the wrong direction and a laser fires out and it's like, you idiot, you walked the wrong way. Now you're a pile of,
Yeah. I like both methods, but I think my favorite joke is Monkey Island 2 is framed as Guybrush telling Elaine the story up to a certain point. And you can get him killed during that course. And if you die, it just cuts to him telling her the story. And she goes, Guybrush, you obviously didn't die. Because you're telling me this story right now, and it just plays it off as like he just embellished details a little too much.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, that's a good point. And then you just go back and you try it again. Like, death usually not a thing in those games. And I think that makes for some funny moments. But I also, I grew up on the Sierra style where you died for every mistake you possibly could make.
Sierra meant death.
Yes.
Eventually for Sierra Online themselves. Speaking of which, we were talking about them, and they were founded by Roberta and I forgot the husband's name, Williams.
Ken Williams.
Ken Williams. And they're super interesting people. And anyway, didn't know this, but after I did that episode, I was talking to my daughter, and I didn't know one of the reasons she wanted to go into games because there are more women in a historical context in early video game development that were around for stuff like this, that we owe like huge, like entire genres to some of their ideas. And she just thought she wanted to try to be one of those people. And I had no idea. So we had this like fun little connection.
Awesome.
But anyway, she's coming back too to do something.
Ken and Roberta Williams just announced they're working on a new project because they were quarantining and bored.
Yeah. They were in a,
so they're like, we'll make a game.
Yeah, which was similar to why King's Quest started, because they weren't quarantining in the 70s, but it was something like that where they were like, couldn't leave or couldn't do something, and she got all hooked on some weird IBM mainframe game, that text-based thing someone made, and that inspired King's Quest. And so the idea that she would be doing that again, but based on another shutdown of sorts, that's pretty great. I don't know if that's a King's Quest revival or something else. I don't know. Can't remember
I'm not
now.
sure. I don't know if they have the rights to it anymore. So
there was a new King's Quest released in 2015.
Yeah, I played it. They did chapters. It's okay. It's basically
like it looks more like a Telltale deal. I think.
It's a remake basically. You do have a direct control over your character in a more 3D sort of move around kind of way, as opposed to Telltale. You have some of that, but it's more like a book. I don't know. It's hard to compare those two, but it was okay. It just they were kind of remaking those games, and they're not terrible, but they're not. I don't know. They're not notable.
It hits different in this day and age to what people expect. Like back in those days, they were like, "Holy shit! Look at these graphics."
Yeah.
You look at it now, and you're like, looks like barf, right? Like, but
yeah. Well, some of it really, some of the later stuff, 90s stuff, I think holds up. Like, I love that kind of pixely stuff, and there's lots of...
it does hold up, but just from like a sales perspective, like...
Oh, yeah.
I think adventure games with high fidelity, the bar is really high, because you're looking at, like, a Quantic Dreams. Like, people are like, it needs to be a cinema experience.
That's a good comparison. I think that's what they're trying to be, is like, Quantic Dream is the modern... They're trying to be a modern version of whatever that would have been then.
Yeah.
There's just so many offerings. If it doesn't have a novelty attached to it, I just think it's hard. It's just a hard sell. It's probably a really great video game. But... Yeah,
Carter and I are playing. We've been live streaming it. We'll do it again tomorrow. I think we're probably getting close to the final third, but it's a game called Roki, which is this. It's an adventure game in all the truest sense, except it's done in this beautiful engine. 3D this and that. Just a really nice game written by some folks somewhere in. It's Norwegian in origin, and also the story is based on some Norwegian lore and mythology and stuff. Anyway, we've been playing that. That thing is awesome. Like, I'm all for this style of game being a thing, and even though it's a 3D engine, it still kind of has that, like, you have direct control of your character, but stuff on the screen, you'll grab something and she'll say, oh, this is meant for whatever, and you'll put it in, like, the top drawer inventory above your head, and you get another item like, oh, this candle and this donut go together somehow, and then they create I don't know, magic wand or whatever. None of this is in that game. I'm trying not to spoil it.
I made all that up. It's all imaginary.
But I would highly recommend Roki, and there's quite a few indie, quote unquote indie style adventure games. Like Steam alone has tons of them, and there's really good stuff in there, so worth checking out.
I think I watched you stream some with.
Oh yeah, did you see part of that? Yeah, we had
not Roki. It was a different game, but I know you stream these on occasion with her. There was another one where I can't remember. Was it a time travel-y one or something like that?
Oh, the space, the goofy.
You're going to different places, a little weird. I can't remember what
It's
it
a
was called.
LucasArts one. Day of the Tentacle. That's the one that we played.
No, it
No?
definitely wasn't Day of the Tentacle. No, it was.
Oh, it was the X-Files like one. With the,
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
that was
so.
an indie game whose name I never remember, but that was a fun game.
Hmm.
We really liked it. And that was, I think Ron Gilbert was involved in that, actually, or somebody like that.
Yeah, I think it did have some legacy towards, past adventure games.
Yeah, and who's in the chat? Nor Penguins yell Speck of Dust. Yeah, that's what that game was. That game had
Yeah,
that
Speck of Dust.
I even have a T-shirt that says Speck of Dust from that run. That was so much fun. Anyway, all right, so that's what's going on there. Looking forward to it. I also am looking forward to this, I think, because I'm not really in the mood for RTSs, but I love Dune, so I got real excited about this. Plus, Dune has a long storied history as a.
Oh, I saw Dune on the weekend.
Oh, first time or again?
Yeah, first time. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it. It's just not the whole movie.
Yeah,
this
it's
is the
like
way it's. You're like, okay, like,
yeah,
it's hard to decide if you like. I definitely enjoyed it, but it's hard to decide if you like it because it's so like. We're just gonna stop. It's like, you stop in the middle of the movie to order a pizza and then don't get back to it because you're busy doing something else. John knows about.
And in John's case,
Yeah,
there's a baby coming after that pizza.
So it's like, okay, I guess like I liked everything I saw. It was awesome, but it's just not.
I love that movie, but I also agree with you at the same time. Like I love it, but also it's the half of the.
Like I know
book.
the story too, so it's not like I wonder what happens next. It's like I know the general gist and I like how they're treating it, but it's not over. So I just know my brain's like I can't really.
That sounds like a character in Dune. General Gist. I like that.
General Gist.
General Gist.
It sounds like a fake name in
General
Dune.
Kenobi.
I am General Gist. All right. So anyway, Dune Spice Wars is launching in early access this month. What is that, you ask? Well, it's an RTS, which is why I'm a little hesitant because I'm not really into RTSs right now. I haven't been for a while. Used to be all I cared about. Now I'm sort of whatever. Anyway,
this could be a really good RTS.
This could be a very good RTS. I mean, I don't know. Again, strong legacy.
The right IP. It's
the
right IP for it.
And you guys, it's playing. Sorry.
We have nostalgia memories from Dune 2. Dune 2 was an amazing PC RTS.
Like it was crazy cool.
Years ago.
Yeah, it invented the genre in a lot of people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
I played it on Genesis, which is a weird place to play an RTS, but it played pretty well there. Anyway, conceptually, you're on Arrakis. You're trying to control the place, get all the spice.
Oh, there's footage for it.
Oh yeah, they got a little gameplay footage here. Look at these little dudes.
It looks great. It's like a mix of Civ and
I
like
real-time
sandstorms.
I like what I'm
that
seeing.
looks cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Well, this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
It looks like a really nicely made game as well. I think the art for all this like key art that they've got is beautiful. Love this stuff. It's very reminiscent of maybe some of the old editions of the books when they were originally published. I love that kind of thing. Do you guys remember that Sands of Arrakis Homeworld spinoff? Or not Sands of Arrakis, sorry, Sands of some other name.
Sands of not tied to actually Dune.
Yeah, it felt very Dune-y though, which is why I screwed that up. But there's kind of a Warhammer thing going on here. I'm kind of enjoying what I'm seeing.
Oh, look, they're winning you over.
They are winning me over a little bit. If the campaign's solid and doesn't,
you can't resist this.
If it's
look at all that sand.
Look, if it's not too much horde mode bullshit, I'm probably in. I just don't want to do horde mode stuff.
Look at that guy.
Dune?
No, the horde mode missions, like defend the base until the sandworm gets home, or whatever the deal is. I don't want to do that.
There'll probably be a mission, I'm sure, like that. But
yeah,
I don't know. This looks like it's more like a game of Civ, where you have the different houses and.
Yeah, and they literally call it Dune 4X real-time game.
Oh, then 4X would mean I would expect something like Civ, not like... Yeah.
So maybe Stellaris is the comparison?
It's not like StarCraft 2 where there's this mission-based sort of deal, or, because RTS can mean that, like, you're in a map, you have an objective. It might be like Stellaris, or Civ. Stellaris is real time, so it's probably more like Stellaris.
More like Stellaris,
Stellaris is space Civ, but the difference is Civ is turn based, and Stellaris is you pause and play kind of thing.
Yeah, I really like Stellaris. I like Stellaris, but I'm bad at it. But I really like it.
Oh, Stellaris is so good. I really want to play. I know it's going to be like a 5,000 hour thing, and I've got like all the expansions.
Oh, you should. You should get in, man. You should get in.
It's just.
You'd have to
I'm
stop
gonna
playing
like,
Elden Ring.
Next 18 weeks, I'm gonna be like, so I'm still playing my campaign and stuff.
I mean, hey, that's fine. Here's the thing. I'll tell you this though. You say it'll be that every week on core, but unlike a lot of games where if you talk about it every week, like I don't know, an MMO of some kind.
Yeah, maybe a
Like,
Japanese one that's
usually the story doesn't change. It's like I did MMO stuff. I will say this: the stories that come out of games like Stellaris and stuff like that are amazing. Like it makes me want to learn it. I just don't have the patience for it. But the stories you hear about those games and what's happening in them is really good.
Yeah, there's some really good DLC I've heard about for that game that just really changes things up. I have all of it too. I don't know why.
You guys are like convincing me to. Okay, I'm not going to play. Goodbye, Elden Ring.
Goodbye, Elden Ring. You've had
gone.
your moment.
It's done. He beat it today by wanting to play something else.
That's how it goes. Also, this is good news. So then Unreal 5, the actual engine's out now. This happened. There was a State of Unreal or some sort of live video presentation thing that Epic did the other day. It was interesting, and a lot of the stuff we already kind of knew about, and they showed footage from the Matrix Resolutions, or whatever the hell the new one's called. What's it called? Matrix
Resurrection.
Resurrections.
Resurrections.
Okay, with an S.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Unreal demo for that thing, which everybody could play for free on their Xbox or their PS5, was shown again. They showed a bunch of that. But the point of the whole thing was to say, hey, the engine's ready. We're out of the basement on this. Everybody can have access to it. Let's go. And so people are already taking that demo, for example, on PC and putting like Superman in it and flying around that city. I've seen a couple of weird videos floating around from various developers. Anyway, Unreal Engine 5 is out and in developers' hands. And that happened this week. And one of the announcements that went along with that, along with, I guess this kind of ties to the Witcher 4 announcement last week that they're also going to use Unreal Engine 5. The Tomb Raider people are making a new Tomb Raider game in Unreal Engine 5. And there was some hints dropped about why both developers did this, and it was partly due to the tech demo that Epic showed, especially in the Witcher's case. They showed like a beat-up old Witcher-looking town where everybody's in there going, oh, it's the worst. We hate it here. Skellig-looking a-holes all laying around.
My wife got stolen by algos.
Exactly. I feel like they baited him a little bit and said, hey, look at this. It looks like Witcher. And then the Witcher people are like, yeah, it kind of does. Let's just get it. So anyway, Unreal 5 is going to be the next Tomb Raider engine. I personally really liked those last 3 Tomb Raider games and would look for whatever's next would be exciting to me. I'm down. Yeah.
It's another one of the Square Enix that underperformed, I think.
Well, they claim it did. They
but
sold
it sold very well.
Yeah, it sold like 4 million copies, that last one, and they're like, well, it wasn't quite to our whatever expectations you guys have. It's insane.
Every game they make, they expect, they're like, this is gonna be the next thing. This is gonna be the one. But
hate it.
No, I liked him. I actually didn't play the third one.
Oh, you should. It's very good.
They came out a little too close to one another. I think I just kind of missed that one. But the first 2 I love. I thought those games were phenomenal.
When did well, it's been a while now, I guess, but they got all 3 of those came out on Epic's free week some months ago.
I picked it up. So
it's there. You should try it sometime. 3 is really good. I think 3 is. I mean, a lot of people think 2 is the bomb, but I think 3 is where all the systems finally came together from all 3 games. Like, that's the iteration that plays the best. I really like it. It's really good. Plus, you raid tombs, which is nice.
Yeah, it's good to live up to your name.
Yeah, that first game, you spent a lot of time exiting buildings and getting shot at and killing other people, which was fine. But you never really raided too many tombs. The final 2 games are way more Tomb Raider. But anyway, Tomb Raider coming soon. Unreal Engine 5, watch for it. It's exciting to hear that, even though they may not have been happy with the sales of the last one. They must have been happy enough if they're going for another one. So we'll see how that goes. Also, Epic and Lego partnered. How you like this? What do you think of this?
Yeah, they want to make the metaverse for kids, basically.
Great. So finally,
everyone has a metaverse, so there'll be 5,000 fractured metaverses.
Yeah, which is the opposite of a metaverse.
It's a marketing buzzword at this point, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I hate it.
Everyone gets it. It's just
I hate
But
it though.
Epic is has a really good engine, really good tools. And Lego is first and foremost amongst as a toy developer of what it makes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you always kind of hope, in the same way that like Disney tries to partner and just comes up with the one thing, like you kind of hope that if there are people who really love Lego. My brother loves Lego. Like,
Lego's great.
And
Yeah.
like if you could get a really great simulator game that it wasn't like a license, like here's Star Wars Lego, like just like a build shit in simulation, then here's the way to buy the real physical products,
Oh.
right? Like
Yeah.
just like full on, just like sim, you can play, you can build, and then if you want to build, and people can share their blueprints, and I feel like
I
that
think that'd be
exists on
awesome.
some level, but it hasn't made the waves. Like it's not an Unreal Engine. I just feel like Unreal Engine probably has a lot of tools to make that a really fun experience.
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, they basically had a Lego online game. Do you remember that? I never played it, but that was a thing for a hot 3 months.
Yeah, like I was aware that it was there, but I'm sure I don't know who they partnered up with to do it, but if it was in house, it's not what Lego's known for. It's probably not that great, like
Yeah.
who's the developer.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember what that was called. Lego Online. I don't remember. I was going to try to find it, but that was kind of an answer. That was them saying, "Hey, what if we were like Minecraft?" And I don't think that worked out for them. And then they were like, "Well, what if it was Minecraft and like World of Warcraft?" Well, okay, that didn't really work either. This might be the way to do it. I think this is more of a strategic move by Epic and Lego to some degree to get some of that Roblox money. That's been very elusive for everyone else but Roblox.
And it's been clear that they've been eyeballing it. I mean, Epic had their a very poorly named core thing that they were making.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, whatever.
Epic made core.
Yeah,
I
they
think
made
so.
core, those bastards.
Yeah, so like they tried to do that, and like it's clearly been something that's been on their radar for a while. I honestly, I'm a little surprised that they're chasing it as hard as they are, because I feel like it is not too hard for them to branch Fortnite into becoming that.
Yeah.
It's already got the eyeballs, it's already got the attention. I feel like maybe they're just worried they're going to mess it up, but
okay, yeah. So Epic is not doing core; it's Manticore.
Well,
Games.
Manticore, but
it's on the Epic Game Store.
It is. It's all so they're supporting it though with not only the engine is Unreal, but they are they're big. They're pushing it as part of like a core experience. Sorry, it's hard not to use the word in all the contexts that it comes in, including our freaking show name. But anyway, they're all up in Epic's pocket on this, and I don't think it's doing very well. I've heard that this is sort of a empty thing. Nobody's really playing this because no one left Fortnite to play it, and the only place it's really featured is on the Epic Game Store. So it doesn't have the reach that Fortnite does. So on the one hand, I'm glad to hear that because I would like our name back. But two, I think that's what this is an attempt to do. I think they've got other attempts to try to do this. I think the Lego attempt could actually make it that you could make an argument that would be a pretty strong play.
Well, this is also like Nintendo has a game creator offering. PlayStation has Dreams.
Yeah.
Which is a thing. Like it's not like it's I get that it's a bridge between actually coding, like even coding in an engine that has a lot of stuff already pre-done for you, so it's easier.
Yeah.
Or like Game Maker, or one of those easy to like access sort of like what do they call it? Just like an environment, like a programming environment that makes things easier for you as a developer.
Sure.
You don't have to code straight from C or whatever.
Right.
Whatever
Object oriented programming.
Yeah, so it's just like you can go in there and you can do nodes, and it's graphical, and you can learn that way. It's like this bridge, so it's like it's kind of not an adult who wants to even play around in programming. It's like, don't use this, like just use Epic, use Unreal Engine, there's more support for all these things in terms of YouTube tutorials than there's ever been.
Yeah.
So I think most adults looking into this are going to think this is a waste of time. So it's for kids.
Definitely for kids.
And core doesn't strike me as very easy to use, whereas I'm sure Mario Maker or whatever it is that's called for Nintendo, I don't know if that's out yet or not, what they announced for their little game design thing.
Not yet, I don't think.
It's easy to use, right?
Yeah.
Like Mario Paint is not a good Photoshop software, but it was easy to use and a bunch of fun at the time.
Yeah.
And so core doesn't strike me as hitting either of those very well. As a platform, that's where Roblox, I think, is like that, because you can make games at Roblox, right? But
Yeah.
it's really easy to
Yeah.
make games.
And kids are making games.
Like, it needs to be kind of stupid. Like, I don't mean that pejoratively. It just needs to be kind of like hand-holdy, and you can't make great original content in it, because then if you're doing that, what's the point in using core?
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
They're Roblox is way ahead in this regard. He said, okay, so Niles B. Christensen, who is Lego CEO, he says, just as we protected children's rights to safe physical play for generations, we are committed in this deal to doing the same for digital play. So we look forward to working with Epic Games to shape this exciting and playful future. And he probably did it in an accent that was way cool, and I didn't do it at all.
I'm sure there are people using core. It's just not a big audience, right? Like,
It's very small. My understanding is it did not take off. So,
Yeah.
but we're doing good. So that's fine. Core rules.
If they have less users than we have, listeners, then yeah, for a company that size, it's probably not going well.
Yeah, I don't actually. I wish I knew those numbers. That would be amazing if we had more. If we have more downloads than they have core users, that would be great. That would be great. And maybe it is. I don't know. Anyway, there's that. That's pretty much all she wrote this week. So let's dive into a Dear Martha review. Now, here's what happens. From the front lines, John goes and finds Steam reviews. And then he reads them here as if this was like a late 1800s letter home from the front in the Civil War. We call them Dear Martha reviews. That's the most description I've ever given this segment. So I hope if you're new,
people won't figure it out otherwise.
Yeah, you're never going to figure this out. John, anything special here? Just go for it.
No, standard Martha.
All right, here we go. It's 7 Days to Die. Enjoy. Oh, that's the wrong shit. Hold on, wrong song.
That's not a standard Martha. That's
Nope.
a jazzy
My
Martha.
dearest Martha.
That is definitely not.
Yeah, we
it.
should have just rolled with it. That would be great.
It's terrible. All right, here we go.
My dearest Martha, I write to you now to give you my review for 7 Days to Die, a zombie game on Steam. Martha, so me and a friend were off exploring. It started to get dark, so we busted into a house, stuck up a finger at the zombies shambling towards us as we hacked out the stairs and retreated to the attic. After congratulating ourselves profusely on outsmarting the undead, we proceeded to start talking about life in general and memories of times past, whilst the zombies screamed and raged downstairs. After a while, my friend asks me, "Dude, what's that noise?" "Dunno, man. Sounds like something is falling down." I pull out a candle to be greeted with a view of house collapsing around us. After a moment of pure perplexion, me and my friend fall through the floor into a moaning sea of zombies. I made a dash to the door, thinking that I was going to make it, whilst the screams of my half-eaten friend rang in my ears. But just as I got to the precipice of salvation, the remainder of the house fell on my cowardly ass and squished me. 10 out of 10 would get crushed by a house again. Yours in this life and the next, Ryan.D.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a fun one. I've never played that game.
Yeah.
Anybody play that? 7
I
Days to
haven't,
Die?
but it sounds cool.
It does
If
sound-
that story's true, that sounds all right.
Yeah, sounds okay. Isn't that? I think that one just got. I'm thinking of The Long Dark. Something just got hacked from Game Pass, and a bunch of people were pissed. But I think it was The Long Dark. Same deal though. Survive, zombies, all that. That's the thing. Well done, John. That was awesome as always. Let's get to what we played this week. All right, I just want to add on to what John said last week a little bit about Weird West, which hit last week on Game Pass, and since then has also been added to Game Pass PC and console with cross saves and stuff. So I thought I'd test around with that a little bit and also get my hands around the game. I think that game is rad, like really cool. I really like it, like a whole lot, and would recommend it. I don't have a ton to add in terms of gameplay because John kind of explained most of it, but it's really fun and tactical and hard in some parts and really rewarding. And I think that the almost retro style engine they're using or whatever, this kind of look that they're going for, it really works for it. It's very weird, like it says in the
you
name.
can't talk about this game without saying weird. I felt very self-conscious that I called it weird like 8 times last week, but it is.
It's very
Like,
weird.
Just something about it is, and not just like the fact that there's occult stuff, but
Right.
it's very weird.
No, the cult stuff, it's like, oh, okay, well, I get it. These are themes we've seen in other games or stories or movies or whatever. It's just that the entire thing is just a little weird, and unnerving in a good way for me. I really, really like this. I already was a huge fan. I think I said it last week, but I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of taking the Western genre and mixing it with other stuff, whether it's, zombies or werewolves or supernatural phenomena of whatever kind you want to apply to it. I find that stuff great. Like, big Jonah Hex fan. I love that kind of stuff. I read a lot of books that are sort of based on this sort of thing. Six Gun's a very good example. Jerry Tolbert in the chat mentions it's very much like that. If you've never read the Six Gun comic series, do yourselves a favor and read the effing Six Gun. It's so freaking good. So if any of those sorts of themes like appeal to people, I think you're going to really like this. And I am having a blast. I think this game is rad. So Weird West, I put a bunch of time into that. Now let's saunter over into my strange experience. Okay?
With Spider-Man.
With Spider-Man of all things. So I'm always, always like finger on the button going, oh, I really should get Miles Morales. And if I'm going to do that, I may as well get the one with the remastered first game. They're some of the best. They're the best Spider-Man games. I actually think they're better than, this is going to be controversial. I like that Spider-Man game that came out for originally PS4 and is now a remastered thing on PS5. I like that more than I like any of the Spider-Man movies. That's how much I like it. I think that game is really great. Now, you might say
it's hard to compare. I'm kind of with you, but it's hard to compare. Like, there's a difference between I watched a very fun movie and the relaxing, wonderful joy of swinging through the city as Spider-Man.
You're right. And I'm not even saying the stories are comparable. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I really like being in that world, and I like being Peter Parker, and I like all the notes they hit with that. To me, that feels like the most real place for Spider-Man to exist in a video game for some reason. I don't know. This is just a me thing. I like those movies, don't get me wrong. But if you were to say, Scott, you want to sit down and watch one of those for another 2 hours? You want to play that game for 2 hours? I'd play that game for 2 hours. That's what I do.
Well, let me posit a theory before you get too far away from this subject.
All right, go ahead.
So Marvel has always touted, especially in the days of Miles Morales and stuff like that one of the biggest things that they think is appealing about Spider-Man is that anybody can be Spider-Man because he's got the full mask. You can see yourself as Spider-Man, as a human, like Peter Parker, Miles Morales, all of them. They are relatable as human beings outside of superheroes. And then behind the mask, we can all be Spider-Man. So I would say that any game that lets you be Spider-Man and puts you in that role just feels right.
Yeah.
It just feels like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think you said it all, and I agree with that statement. I'm not even that big of a comic book fan when it comes to reading Spider-Man comics per se. Also, there's so many of them, it's hard to know whenever to start or where to jump in. But I should talk to you, John, because I need some recommendations, because now I'm kind of all thinking about Spider-Man. But anyway, here's what happened. Here's the weird bit of this. So far, this, what I'm telling people is not surprising. But I've always kind of been like, oh, but it's $70. Do I want to spend $70? It's a lot, and I got other games to finish. Like, why am I even bothering? They had a freaking spring sale, and they had that combined game set, which I think they call Ultimate Edition or something.
Yeah.
Where you get the full remastered first game, you get the new Miles Morales game, all in one package. They had it for like $44.
That's awesome.
That's a good deal.
That's a really good deal. And it was like very short sale. Like they weren't going to do it for much longer, like 3 days and the sale was over.
Slam it, and you don't have to play it right away.
Yeah. So
there when you want it.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, I'm doing this. I've been talking about doing it. Why don't even if I don't play it now, I'll have it ready when I got some time.
I mean, I've bought games thinking I'd play them later and never touched them for way more, for like full price.
For more money than that.
I mean, it's great.
So that's what I did. I downloaded them, and then a funny thing happened. The console went bling to let me know it was downloaded, and I thought, well, I'll just hop in. I'll give that first game a swing.
Yeah, give it
that's all I've done. That's all I want to play right now. It's really good. I started over completely from where I was way back in PS4 days because I didn't want to just try to remember. I never finished that game, so I never got to the finished story or any of that. Always meant to, just never did. So this time was me like, okay, I'm going to start over. I've forgotten what the guy's face looks like, so this whole new Peter Parker face does not bother me at all.
Yeah, that's right. I
don't
forgot
even
they
notice
recast him.
I don't even know what he used to look like. I haven't looked it up.
Different. That's all.
Yeah.
Like different, but also the same.
Yeah, in some ways the same, and it's the same voice, I think, right? Or did they?
Yeah,
Why did they recast him?
Same voice actor.
Some deal with the previous actor's image and their contract.
I don't know. I heard so many theories. I heard it was to make it look more like Tom Holland. I heard it was because he was going to be appearing in Miles Morales and they couldn't get the original guy. I heard a ton of stories. I don't know which one of them is true, but for whatever reason they decided for this version to recast Peter.
Yeah, and he does look a lot like he looks a lot more like Tom Holland. I won't say he looks like Tom Holland because I think they only did new face capture and not full body capture.
Yeah.
So this guy's if you didn't know any of this, Bo, you'd never know. Like
Yeah, I know.
It runs perfectly fine. It's not like weird where it feels like his face is attached to the wrong body or anything weird like that.
Like I'm voting conservative, and then
right,
you're out.
You're out of here.
You got Cara Duned. But like, yeah, I was just fishing for controversy. Yeah, it's fine. I was like, why did they why would you remove them? But yeah,
well, at the time it was controversial. I remember thinking, what's this all about? And then I've never really figured. There it is. I just pulled it up. So the 2018 original. That's one dude on the left, new guy over here on the right. I think he's just as affable and fine. I don't have any problem with this one.
Yeah,
if anything, he's now become more Peter Parker for me than this first guy, so I'm all good. But anyway, I ended up playing hours and hours and hours of this freaking game. And I think I'm now officially further than I was my first run.
So I have a question for you, and this isn't to call you out, although you're getting called out.
Go ahead, call me out.
So have you finished Ghosts of Tsushima?
No, in fact, that's the game I was playing when the thing went bling. Your game's ready to play.
Like, you were on the show last week being like, "I'm finishing this damn game," and then all of a sudden you're like, forget it."
And that's what I was in the middle of doing when all this happened. I was playing that game and working on that game when I got the notification the download was done. And I went.
It's Sony's fault. They should institute this new thing called price freezing. Where like if you see a sale at the time it's on sale, but you're busy finishing that company's other game that you also bought off them, you can be like, listen, I don't want to buy it today, but save the price for when I'm done Ghost of Tsushima and program it to be like, when I'm done this game, give me the deal for 24. I have 24 hours after I hit that achievement mark and finish Ghost of Tsushima. I get the discount for 24 hours.
I like this.
What an insanely weird concept that I love.
Yeah, I love it.
Right? Like, it's so weird, the idea of, like, I'm busy with other games right now, so I would like to lock in the price. But if I can present a receipt that I beat the game that I locked the price for, you will give me the sale price
in like the next month or something, like a reservation list.
Amazing.
Not a game on another platform. I am playing a game on the Sony platform that I gave Sony and the developer money for. Now you put this sale up. I'm busy. If I buy it, I'm going to play it, not finish this game. Let me buy a reservation to hold the price for 24 hours after hitting the end game achievement.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
And we'll call it Sony Reservation Plus.
It's never going to happen, but I love this idea.
Yeah,
I mean, I would love to do that.
It's not a bad. I think
that's how I feel about it. I think it's amazing. I don't know if we would ever live in a world of it, but the more I thought about it, the more I liked it.
The chances of it ever happening are slim at the very best, but I love it.
There's got to be somebody. There's got to be like one person at Xbox or PlayStation listening who knows the email of the guy who might make a decision like this, right? You're listening. It's core. I mean, come on. We got core gamers and core listeners. You're out there.
Yeah, why
Just
not?
think about it. I mean, I don't really have a horse in this race. I'm going to buy games irresponsibly, never play them. But there is a bit of a tension point when you buy the new flashy game. And you're like, let me try it now. If I felt like I didn't have access to it until I finished this other game, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't result in sale. Maybe I'd think better of it. Be like, I don't really want to buy that game. F it. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think there's something to what you're saying. Whether they would ever do it or not is a real question. But I really like the concept. And in this case, it would have really helped me.
Like, get Spider-Man 2 at a discount if you finish Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
Even if it's $10, or something. I don't know.
I'm with you.
It's funny they haven't done even promotions. Forget discounts, but like if you finish like some older game, like buy Max Payne 1 remastered and get some crap and remake or something like that, but only if you finish it and show an achievement point. And some people might buy the game, get the achievement point, get the like so busy focused on microtransactions. Why don't you get people to buy your old stuff by linking the games together?
Yeah.
That's worked. I remember I beat Vector Man on the Sega Genesis because they had a thing where if you beat the game, you would find out if you won $1 million. Like they programmed some version of the game, like where if you got that copy of the game and you beat it, you got to redeem it for like $1 million that you won. I don't know how much of that is true, but it made me go like, I'm gonna beat this game. I beat Vector Man.
Yeah.
I did not win $1 million.
No.
But I was like, oh, I gotta beat it. I gotta know. I need to know if I won $1 million.
Yeah, I think you won the real prize, which was you beat Vector Man.
Yeah, that was the real win.
Yeah, we're all winners now because of what you did. But yeah, like I just what happened there is, well, it's a testament to that game and its mechanics and its just raw fun factor. It's really one of the most fun games ever. It's so good, and I love it. So it got me distracted as hell. While
I mean, you're playing footage right now, Spider-Man. I'm like, it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah,
like, I'm just like that fighting looks pretty badass.
Yeah,
even
it's
if
pretty
just, pretty light on the press count. It still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the kind of game. I mean, it's Insomniac. They don't know how to make a bad game. They just don't. It's not in their purview to do that. It does make me think about when are we going to get screenshots or information or something about that Wolverine game they're making. What's that going to look like? Like I'm suddenly kind of all back and interested in that. But anyway, played it. It's just too good to pass up. That deal was good. I don't think it's going anymore. So if you missed the discount, you missed it. But totally worth it. And I'll keep playing it until one day I go, yeah, but what's Senjay or whatever his name doing right now? I got to go save a village from the Mongols.
We need to just remember that when we do Game of the Year, Scott needs to put a top however many games he beat in 2022 on it.
My top 2022-2018 Game of the Year will be
just complete it. It doesn't matter what year it came out. What are the games you played start to finish this year? Top,
that says a lot about the games.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima, and that's your one and only, or whether there's 5 games on there. Like, that's the list.
No, that's great.
How many have you completed so far?
Last game I completed in its entirety.
In 2022. It's only been 3 months.
Yeah, 2022. This year, have you completed
finished
any
anything?
game?
Metroid Fusion.
Oh, you played 100% of Metroid Fusion?
Well, I don't know if I 100%ed it, but I got to the end.
Well, not that, but like
you defeated the final
game.
boss.
You saw credits.
Yeah, I saw credits. I did that whole game.
Okay, so there you go. You've got one game.
Yeah, no, I think there's more, but
we're not putting you on the spot. I don't think I've finished anything yet in 2022.
No. It's still early yet. I don't know how many people have finished a lot of things. Probably.
I may never finish Elden Ring.
I finished a shitload of games. I make a good list.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Because
that's what you do. John's a finisher, man. Big finisher, John is.
6.
If you were a pro wrestler, you'd be famous for your finishers. You're always finishing things.
Yeah. Always finishing.
Yeah. Finished.
Whether I'm waiting for a pizza or playing Elden Ring, I'm finishing.
I wasn't going to bring up the pizza thing again, so I'm glad you did instead of me. Anyway, all right. So there's that. Been playing that like crazy. Another game I really like, a Game Pass game I've been just hopping in and out of, is a game called Monster Sanctuary. I may have talked about this last year, but I want to mention it again because it's on sale right now for $6 on Steam. It's also on Game Pass, so you don't have to pay for it at all if you already have Game Pass. And it has cloud saves and a really good cloud support for like streaming it, which is part of the reason I was playing it. I was playing it on my phone. Monster Sanctuary is like a combination of Metroidvania, Pokemon, and what would the third thing be? Maybe it's just those two. But it's those genres mushed together. So all of the combat in the game, unlike Metroidvania where you're actually shooting or slashing or whatever in real time, you have pet battles during those confrontations. And you collect different pets throughout the game. and you train them up and have, you know, kind of a Pokemon experience with them. In fact, I think maybe a better experience in my book, because in Pokemon you have to, you like if you're, let's say you're fighting with something and you got a dog that it's a fire-based dog or something. Okay, that's a bad example, but let's just say that you got some kind of dog-like creature in Pokemon. If he gets down to like hardly any life left, that's a persistent problem after the battle. Like he doesn't recover after the battle. In this game, they recover. And during the battle, there's lots of ways to keep them up and going and, you know, boost them and buff them and debuff them and all that sort of thing. But between battles, they heal. And I like that. It just makes it a much more streamlined experience. But anyway, all of the fighting is a turn-based pet battle. And all of the navigation, the story, the unlocking levels, the navigation, all that stuff is all Castlevania style. And it's this 2D thing, small indie game, insane reviews for this thing back when I was reading them. And I just thought, well, I need to give this thing more time. And it's really cool. If any of those things sound like a fun combination to anybody out there, I think you'd really like Monster Sanctuary. It
does sound cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
It is always weird to see when people try to make Pokemon, but they're not Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, because you just get the feeling that like people are just throwing their hands up. They're like, I don't know, man. Everything. There's so many Pokemon at this point.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like you look at it and you're like, oh, that looks like Blastoise, and they're like, no. It's Blastoise adjacent. He's got claws and he's a little bit Godzilla. It's fine.
Well,
there's a Blastoise looking guy here, but his name's Cammy or Cam.
Yeah, and they don't. the one thing I would give credit here is they don't seem to be in the business of trying to recreate Pokemon.
There's an old guy Pokemon. This guy Tengu. He's got a red face, an old beard.
Oh yeah, the little red face beard guy. Yeah,
a long
those
red
are cool.
nose.
Yeah, they're these weird. They're not even animals or creatures or mythical. Some of them are just straight up. Like here's a fox type thing.
I saw one that was just a blob, just a little slime.
Yeah, I have a slime actually working for me. He's great because he does AoE poison stuff that is awesome. They're not treated like Pokemon in the traditional sense. You don't swap them out. You actually have them all out and fighting and taking turns in the turn order. So if I've got a blob, a fire cat, and a whatever third thing, they're out fighting, and I'm doing their turn like a JRPG. While the other team, same thing, and you know that's how you do your fight. So it's not strictly like the Pokemon swap out a creature because the one creature almost died and get the new fresh creature in, or you do want to try to counter certain abilities. So like if the fire guy's not immune to fire, but fire does very little damage, but a water thing might be better. You use your water guy on the fire guy, but then you use your earth guy on somebody, you know, like there's still the rock, paper, scissors thing going on, but they don't make you swap out monsters and all that. I think it's a very, very cool take on all of it. Like it's just a good mishmash of those various genres together, and I really like it. So Monster Sanctuary, I played a bunch of.
I'm downloading it. I'm going to try it.
You should definitely try it.
At some point.
Game Pass.
So many games right now.
I know it's kind of it's an embarrassment of riches right now. So I would not be, shocked if nobody had time. Okay, I'm now going to tell you that the game I told you about last week, the Forward Escape the Fold. Do you remember this? It's like a single player card battler, except the card moved up and.
Escape the Fold.
Yeah, did I tell you guys this last week? I think I did, didn't I? About this game?
Maybe.
It's called. So I only had played it a little last week.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, hold on.
Maybe you mentioned it, but I'm watching the trailer for it now. It doesn't look familiar.
I probably didn't then, because you always look these up while we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's called Forward Escape the Fold, and it's a game where you pick a hero, and that hero's got so much life, and you start in a kind of roguelike card battler way, but it's not like, side to side or having a deck. You're navigating through cards that are placed before you. So one might be a gold card,
cool. Yeah.
An attack card, another one might be poison card or whatever. So you want to get the
There's
gold.
Like a
probably.
Tavern and a forge, and I'm seeing path cards. And so
all that stuff.
It's like everything's handled with cards.
Yeah, it's all cards. It's all like this cool retro look to it, and has an amazing sound. I think I talked about it last week.
If you could have like a deck of like 700 cards and play a solitaire game, but have it be like, there's no environments, I guess. I'm not seeing environment. I'm just seeing cards.
Just cards. That's it. Amazing sound work, though. I love the sound stuff in it. And the
That's
boss,
kind of cool.
when the boss is at the end, it's a single hit. You just want to make sure you've been smart during your run to have enough life and or armor or whatever. It depends on your class, but you can have various things that will help mitigate damage. You just want to make sure that when you get to the boss, when he does his single hit, it doesn't kill you. And all you need is the single sliver of life, and you can move on to the next level. And then there's like in between stuff where you got rewards, or you gotta, like you said, go to the tavern and buy things or whatever. Anyway, it's a very cool little game on its own. It's super cheap. It's like $7 or $7.99 or something. What I like about it the most, it's the perfect meeting game. I had 3 or 4 meetings during the last week where people are just blah, blah, blah.
I love this
talking.
genre of game because it's so uniquely Scott.
Yeah,
I
it's so
meeting
good.
games.
Just
Yeah.
people
Scott
going
has all
on.
these boring ass meetings, and he needs a style of game that allows him to pay enough attention without being obviously absent-minded.
There's your other end
still
of the year
having a game.
list.
Yeah, that one absolutely should.
Top meeting games of 2022.
It's a really good meeting game.
It looks cool. It does look like it's a Solitarica. It's in the Solitarica vein, but
I would say so. Different mechanics and stuff, but yes, it's in that kind of vein.
It's just in that vein of it's just cards and you're doing card stuff.
Yeah, which I quite like. The simplicity of it is pretty cool. They have this challenge mode,
fantasy card stuff,
whole bunch of challenge modes and different kind of modes of play. So there's a lot to do, and I think I've only unlocked like 30%. It gives you a little percentage thing of how much stuff you've done or unlocked or completed. I've unlocked 4 classes. And sometimes you just find those guys randomly in a run. It's like, oh, there's the archer standing here. Let's go talk to him. And then boom, you got the archer. So there's a lot of cool stuff like that. It's totally worth $8. It's like stupid cheap. And this meeting that I had just the other day was perfect. This guy was going on and on and on. And I could understand everything he was saying, but I was just like shlink, 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 doing my stuff, clearing my dudes, making progress, and still taking a meeting. And it was great. So recommend Forward Escape the Fold as a great meeting game.
I put it on the wish list. It's up there with Orc Massage now. We'll see if I ever
That and Orc Massage. What wins?
Finally, today, Demio for PC, meaning the Steam version that doesn't require VR to play it, is out. And the cool thing is, it's a couple things here. So Demio I talked about on the show before. It's a really cool VR game. Up till now, it was only VR, where you are at a big virtual D&D style table, and the various players, you're playing multiplayer, and the 4 of you are co-oping through a dungeon. And I might choose the wizard, and you might choose the archer, and so there's an amazing backstabbing freaking rogue dude you can be, or lady, I guess.
Who you targeting with that comment there, Scott?
You mostly. And
okay.
And anyway, in VR, you can literally reach out, pick up your guy, move him. You know, it's all very explanatory. It's meant to, but they're also very animated. So, you know, you're kind of getting your Star Wars chess kind of feeling of like, I just moved a piece and then that piece came alive and struck another guy with a bat or whatever. It's difficult and it's fun and it's awesome. And I already knew that it would be even more cool if more people could play it, because VR, as cool as it is in VR, is limiting if you don't have a VR headset. So they had long time ago on their roadmap said, we are making a version of this that just stands alone. And that came out today. And what's cool is it gives you, whether you owned it or not, it gives you a copy of the VR version, just gave it to you. So it's just free.
Oh,
so if you buy the PC edition, you get the VR edition?
You get both. Yep. You get both of them, which I did not expect.
Man.
I don't think anyone expected it.
Cool. You know what I really like to see? There was one screenshot here I'm tabbing over, and I guess you pick your adventure.
Yeah.
And it looks like a bunch of old,
like D&D manuals,
second edition D&D books. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like aesthetically, I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, they do. They are clearly super into this whole thing, like just the look of it, the concept of it, all of that stuff. And this was on, I guess there was a demo of this for a couple of weeks, so it was out there if people wanted to get their hands on it. But it's, I'm happy to report I grabbed it. I have this on the Quest, so I already had it there. And apparently if you have it on Quest, you can get a PC version. It may not be a Steam key, but you can get the PC version for free also. So from that direction, you get whatever the free thing is you don't own, in that case, the PC edition. Either way, all of it is cross-platform. So if I join a multiplayer game of randos or I'm playing with friends, it doesn't matter who's on VR and who's not. We can all be in mixed games. It doesn't matter. So complete cross-play across all the platforms to play this thing. And I just think this opens it up to a whole bunch of people that either don't want VR, don't have VR, or otherwise don't care about VR. And underneath is a very good turn-based, fun, I think a really, just a really great version of like of a turn-based dungeon crawler. And you use cards that you get out of so there's a little bit of card battle aspect to it, but they're more like abilities. They don't really use them like cards. What else can I say about it? You've got classes right now are a bard, a wizard. I forgot what the big polearm dude is. Anyway, it's your normal stuff, and archers in there. Your usual selection that you might find in one of these kind of games. And they've got a whole bunch of adventure stuff. You can play it on your own, where you control everybody if you want. You just it's turn based, so you just control your party. Or you can play with up to 4 of your friends, or you could have 2 of you and 2 extra characters that you both you decide who wants to move who. Anyway, it's great. It's real good. I only had time for one game, but this is one I would love playing with friends more often. So hoping to be able to do that soon.
I'm hoping soon. I got to buy my mom her birthday gift, but I'm hoping soon to pick up a Quest.
Oh, awesome!
At some point.
So
it's very I don't know if you can wait a little bit, but like the next thing I kind of wanted to get after getting a new PC is I also wanted to splurge on a VR headset. Yeah. It's like I got the DK2. It doesn't run anything. It's old as shit and screen doory as hell, and I don't use it. But I've been wanting to pick another. So like this game has it's like the what do they call it? Not the cheese, the driver, the thing.
Oh, it's a
killer app.
Killer app. There you go.
Yeah. This has like notes of killer app for me because it's like it's a turn-based Divinity, Baldur's Gate, gatey 3 kind of looking experience. The fact that it's later is fine, but it has it seems like a good aesthetic. I'm a little concerned it might be just from appearances, like it's not the full experience because it's leaning on VR, so it's maybe not as good. But like what you're showing me looks all right, so like I definitely want to give it a try.
Well, I want
to play it with friends.
It's super challenging, and I will say, like from the VR side, it's absolutely the one. If there is a killer app on my Quest, it's this. It's the one game I would call that.
So like part of me just I wish listed this.
Yeah,
I think I'd like to just give it a little bit of time so I can pick up my Oculus.
Yeah.
And then I'll play.
Yeah, totally.
I'd love to play with you guys.
Yeah.
That way, whoever doesn't have the headset can still play there. But this is also a good option for my other game group too. So,
oh yeah,
I'm really into this. Like,
Mike and Crofton would freaking love this, dude.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a good pool. I have a good pool of options for players, and I'm definitely want to have a good time on VR. But there hasn't been any. Alex looks cool and all, but I just don't feel like shitting my pants all that much when it comes to VR games,
Yeah.
And I want a fun VR experience, and this looks like the right speed.
Oh yeah,
so.
Yeah. And the turn.
And I think what really sold me was like the look of picking the adventures, like the fact that they look like what they look like.
Yeah.
Like this, it's just I'm like, okay, they're really trying to communicate. They're aiming at a certain audience who's going to look at that and go, cool. Right.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
yeah.
So I'm like,
there's lots of character lines. Like the wizard will do, he's got a barrier spell that he can get, and it'll stop mobs from getting to wherever you guys are. So it's a strategic thing, and he yells, "You shall not pass," when he puts it up and junk like that. So it's like referential, and this whole thing, this table you're in, if you pull your camera up and look around, there's like a room with couches and stairs leading upstairs. You're like in someone's basement. And they play with that stuff, and it's just a fun vibe all around. Oh, this guy just missed. I should explain the way these dice work. So it's not a traditional 20, D20 or something, but it's a polygonal piece of dice, and on it are a bunch of swords with mostly single swords, but then there's one that's crossed. That's for crit. And so if you hit that, you're going to get double the damage. If you hit the skull, because there's one side that's just a skull, that's a miss. But instead of just having you miss, it's, especially when you're with friends, it kind of sucks actually. If you miss, it isn't just missing hit. It's your guy will spin around almost like in a roulette kind of way, and then wherever he stops, he will stab or shoot or do whatever he was going to do forward wherever that is. And that's sometimes your guy, the guy next to you, which is, know, and it's great. Like those moments are hilarious. They piss you off, but in a good way. You'd laugh with your friends. It's a really good time.
I know this. I'm wishlisting this. I'm putting it right to the top. I think this is something that it had my interest, but I was like, well, it's even this still is kind of early access, but it was just a VR thing, and it can wait. But I don't know. I think
the
VR
is
looking like life after Valheim for me potentially as a multiplayer.
Oh yeah, heck yeah! I think it would fit really well for that. And I played it a number of times multiplayer in VR. I've only had one game on the desktop version. The desktop version is technically in early access, but it already feels fine. I don't know what they're actually doing. The VR version that's out of early access, so it's like a full blown game. But since they can crossplay, I doubt there's much difference. I'm guessing the early access is for them to just iron out PC specific bugs with UI and junk like that. But so far, I'm really impressed. Like they took a game that I thought would only work in VR. It's usually the other way around, right? Like games that aren't VR and then they got to wedge it into VR. This is like the opposite of that. And they've done a really good job so far. The interface feels good. I feel like you're playing just a fun RPG.
I want to play in VR. I want to be able to I don't know, do whatever silly things the VR options, because you're have hands in your little head, right? So, Crofton and I are going to be making inappropriate gestures at each other in VR. Yeah. And he really can't help it. But do it and respond to it, and so I want to be there for that.
I'll tell you what else is cool. You and Crofton will sound like you're right next to each other because it has spatial audio as well.
Because if he's in VR and I'm not, then he's going to do inappropriate gestures, and I'm not going to be able to fight back, and I won't.
Got to be able to fight back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, it's really neat. I highly recommend it, and that PC version is going to make a lot more people be able to play it. So there you go. All right, John. My thing I'm most curious about today, the game I almost bought, but because I was so busy with everything else, I didn't do it. Lego Star Wars, The Skywalker Saga. The most realistic plastic I've ever seen in a video game. How is it?
It's true. You're not wrong. It's really good. The game is beautiful. It looks awesome. I really, I like it, but let me be clear. This is a Lego game.
Yeah.
It has not broken the mold. Exactly. It has evolved it a little bit. Like it plays a lot better. You're not at that super distant looking down kind of camera angle that you usually are for most Lego games. You're kind of a over the shoulder type view for most of it. So you've kind of got a third person shooter vibe if you're a kind of person that fights with a gun, or more of an action game style if you fight with a lightsaber. But at the end of the day, it is still very much in the vein of Lego games.
Yeah.
You run around, you collect studs, you unlock characters. Characters have certain strengths. Jedi can use the Force, whereas, droids can get into areas that you might not otherwise be able to do. So, and through it all, you see whimsical versions of Star Wars cutscenes in a much quickened pace. Like everything moves a lot faster, and the humor's hit and miss. It's kind of just right up in the vein of Borderlands. Some of the stuff is really easy, obvious things. I mean, most of the jokes in episode 1, which is where I decided to start, tend to be Jar Jar Binks just getting hurt in the background of scenes while other people do dialogue. It is voiced. The voiceovers are sometimes really good and they are sometimes really bad. Qui-Gon stands out as particularly awful for the early parts of the game. It's kind of a double whammy of someone not doing a very good Liam Neeson impression, but also it's a person who did a different voice for the Clone Wars cartoon, and he's doing the same voice. And so it's this weird distraction of you've got the same guy who did Obi-Wan's voice in the Clone Wars cartoon voicing Obi-Wan, but then you have a guy who did the, every time an episode started and you got the guy that goes, space, galactic turmoil is engulfing the galaxy. They have him doing that voice for Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, weird.
And it's incredibly distracting at how not accurate it is. It bugs the shit out of me.
Weird.
But, so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The little kid Anakin is not very good, but it's a good little kid voice. So it's kind of endearing at the same time because it's at least...
Well, for the record, neither was
close.
Jake Lloyd was terrible, so almost anything.
Right. It
improvement.
kind of feels like an alternate reality where he talks a little more normal.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of forgive child actors, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it's a charming game. Like I said, jokes are hit and miss. Some of the funnier stuff is hidden in dialogue that you just talk to people. Like you have a guy, like this isn't in one of the cutscenes, but you'll be walking around on Tatooine in the slave district, and someone will go, "What are you talking about? We call them forced volunteers." like and it's just stuff like that is a lot. I find that stuff a little bit funnier than the stuff they tend to throw in the big cutscenes, but it's charming in all the way the Lego games are. It has made me smile, made me laugh. The Darth Maul model in particular just looks so angry all the time. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Like every time he shows up, he's just like giant yellow eyes and gritted teeth, and it just looks hilarious every time he's around. It's a good co-op game. Does the vertical split screen for co-op, so you can play it that way. And it's very pretty. So I think the best advice I can give if you're looking to think about buying it is, how do you feel about Lego games?
Yeah.
If you don't like them, this isn't going to change your mind. If you've kind of enjoyed them in the past, this is a really good one of those. So, it's worth probably picking up. And if you love them, this is solid. This is really good. I think the one thing I will mention that is perhaps my favorite thing, when you're running in the game, the way you sprint is you just build up speed over time and you get momentum behind you and you start sprinting.
Yeah.
And if you are playing as Jar Jar Binks and you do that, his long ass tongue comes out of his mouth and starts flapping around behind him as he runs. And it is the funniest looking thing I've ever seen. It's so good.
That's great. I think that's fun. Now you can still, okay, I just saw something in the video here. You can still switch to other people in the room, right? Like that's still part of this gameplay. It's like, I'm R2 right now, but I also kind of want to be this other dude, so I can switch over to him. Like that's still part of the gameplay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it's still very important that you have the right character for the right place. You can still totally cheese that. Like I was in the Gungan City and there was a container that could only be destroyed by a bounty hunter for some reason. And because my version of the game had the Mandalorian character pack, I grabbed a bounty hunter from the Mandalorian character pack, and he just joined me on my episode 1 adventure. The game does not care about breaking canon in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so it doesn't. You just do it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Somebody, Kotaku or somebody was saying this is their favorite Star Wars game of all time, and I thought, well, let me ask John, if you had to pick a favorite Star Wars game of all time, is it this? And if it's not, what is it?
No, it's definitely not this. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic in general are definitely high up there. I was a huge fan of Episode 1 Racer, which is in my mind right now because you do play the pod racing section, but this game ain't Episode 1 Racer. It controls definitely like butt and not good.
Controls like butt.
I was a huge fan of the old X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and Alliance games back in the day. Those were all great, as well as the consoleized versions with the Rogue Squadron. Star Wars has a lot of really great games. I don't know if I can pick a favorite.
It's hard, right?
If I had to, I would probably say the Knights of the Old Republic. Probably Knights of the Old Republic. For time and place, I think that's probably the best one. But I love so many of them.
This just looks like a big, stupid good time, though, and I kind of want that right now. Maybe that's why Spider-Man did that, because I was just like, I need to be goofy and have fun and laugh a little, and Spider-Man's full of like humor and goofball moments and stuff. Not quite like this, obviously, but
yeah.
But I think that's what I was hungry for. So for whatever reason, years have gone past since I've cared about a Lego, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Marvel, all those games. Haven't cared. Come and gone, don't care. For this one, I'm like, maybe get it.
Yeah,
so this is all the way up to Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. It's episode 1 through 9.
Yeah, 1 through 9, which a lot of people there's a lot of talk about how the team there was like serious crunch on this game. So there's a lot of people a little bit upset about the fact that they were expected to do as much as they did in the short amount of time they had to do it. Part of that bigger conversation, but yeah, that's a lot. That's all of Star Wars, and plus, some Mando references and some other shit thrown in there.
Yeah, there's some solo stuff. I mean, like they definitely mine everything to put this all together, and there's an unbelievable amount of unlockables and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a pretty full, complete package. It's just whether or not it's going to be something you like seems like the only thing that is up for question. Like, if this is at all in your ballpark, I think it's worth it.
I just cannot believe how the aesthetics of this plastic in this world looked so good to me. Like, I'm blown away by just the environments, the reflective stuff, everything.
Oh yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
Little things like R2-D2 rolling through the sand on Tatooine and just leaving like little imprints in the sand, pushing the sand out of the way where the tire treads go.
Yeah,
like it just looks so good.
Yeah,
and you're just like, oh my gosh. And then they'll do a close-up of like Watto or something, and it looks like little dirt and dust got in the cracks of the plastic of the Watto figure or something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh. Or even just the Lego branding on, I think Jar Jar was eating some fish or something, and the Lego fish had the Lego brand mark on the fish itself, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
How long is this game though? Is it like really long? Like, how many levels is it?
Well, they move at an obscenely brisk pace. Like, they did the level of like, hey, you're off Tatooine, go to Coruscant to meet with the Supreme Chancellor. You go there, you're like, he's like, hey, we need to vote no confidence in the current Chancellor. Let's go do it. You do it, and Queen Amidala's like, hey, I vote no confidence. He's like, awesome. She's like, I'm going back to Naboo now. Like, it just skips so many scenes. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I just played to walk up to the Chancellor, talk to him, and now we're going back to Naboo. What are we doing here? It moves very quickly. But it's got a ton of hub worlds, like with lots of little side missions and side quests and stuff like that. And kind of funny things where, like, if you're playing as a character that doesn't understand astromech droids and you try and talk to one, you don't understand them. You have to go get somebody that actually has been known to communicate with them in the movies if you want to understand them. Likewise, if it's an alien and they speak some alien language, you got to get a translator droid to talk to them. So there's a lot of little things like that. It's very enjoyable, but it's not revolutionary. They didn't change the formula in any dramatic fashion.
Yeah, which I think the fans wanted them to stick pretty close to that anyway. So new look, new angle on the camera, new innovations that way, but they really wanted to keep that core gameplay the same. There are people I talk to who are like, you don't understand, Scott, like the way you felt about Mario growing up is how we feel about Lego Star Wars games. And I'm like, really? And like my oldest daughter's like, oh yeah. I mean, these were the coolest games. And so there's a huge nostalgia factor happening right now that you're just not aware of because that much time has passed, 20 years or something since that first one came out. So yeah, I think I get it. Hey, you finished another damn Final Fantasy game. Which one this time?
I finished Final Fantasy VI.
Nice.
And I finally get why that is one of the most beloved Final Fantasies in existence. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
It took a while for the gameplay to really land with me. There's some weird deviations for that game that just didn't immediately sit well with me. But as far as like writing and storytelling, I've said this a lot recently on streams, but it bears mentioning here. Like, it was a little weird going into Final Fantasy IV because that was another one that was a beloved one. Was Final Fantasy IV came out here as Final Fantasy II. Lots of people love that one. Lots of love for it. And if I'm being honest, when I played through it, it just didn't click with me. It was okay. I don't think it was bad, but the story that I know probably blew a bunch of people's minds back when it came out just didn't really land in particular for me when I played it. And I was really worried the same thing was going to happen with 6 because I knew how beloved it was and I didn't know anything about 6. But it's well-deserved praise. The writing and the storytelling and what they do with it is a step above anything they've ever done before. So I absolutely had a wonderful time with it. It was a really, really great game. Very different game. It kind of turns into an open world game about halfway through it, and it's pretty neat. So I loved it, and I finished it. And up next, for anybody that's been following what I've been streaming and doing, is the Chrono Cross remaster that came out today. I've picked it up. I've launched it. I haven't played much of it. It looks like a bare bones remaster. Now,
Okay.
there's going to be people that want that, like me. You know, I miss being able to play that game. It's a very good game, and I would typically play it, you know, once every year or two. I haven't had a way to play it in a long time, so this is a good way for me to go back and play something I love. But going from the Pixel remasters, which obviously got a ton of love and attention, this game is bare bones. Like they didn't do a lot. They were like, hey, we up-res some assets, here you go. Like, I didn't even know how to quit out of the game at first. When I was like, okay, it works, I was like, how do I get out of this game? Because I couldn't pull up like a PC level menu. And I was like, what is going on? And it turns out, even though I was playing with a controller, I had to hit escape on the keyboard to see a different menu that I couldn't access with the controller in order to be able to exit the game. It has almost no graphical settings. It is extremely bare bones. So buyer beware with regard to that. But it is a port of a very, very good game. It is worth checking out. And it does come with the game Radical Dreamers, which was a Japan-only sequel to Chrono Trigger that they've now translated for the United States. So there's a very good chance that you've never played that unless you did a fan translation thing. So there is value to it. But again,
are their
this
names
is
really
a
Surge,
remaster.
Kid, and Rasley? Are these real names?
Yes, those are real names.
I
The
hate
main
them.
character's name is Surge.
I hate it.
There is Kid, there's Rasley. Scott, the good news is there are like 80 characters in this game.
Oh.
You got plenty to pick from.
Okay, I'm definitely not getting. I'm doing shit with Rasley, whoever that is. I'm not doing them. Or Kid, someone named Kid. Come on now, lame. Surge, I can deal with. You can probably rename that.
Yeah, you
character.
can rename him.
Yeah.
I know you can rename him. I think you can probably rename everybody.
So this is a PS1 game, and looks it.
Yeah, it does.
Were you immediately like, oh, jittery polygons, and this would be nice if they redid this?
I'll
in
say
modern
the polygons actually hold together pretty well. It's the blurry backgrounds that is the thing. You know, like looking at the backgrounds of the game, you're just like, oh man, I wish HD existed back then. I wish there were more H's to the D back in the day, because this stuff looks rough. And it's not in, you can stretch it to where it will fill your screen, but like by default it plays kind of like how you're showing it, where it's, you know, in standard resolution.
Sure.
And it's just a little bit rough. It's like going back and playing a PlayStation game on a modern TV or system.
You know. Yeah, which some are going to appreciate that because they want that authenticity, but in your case, it'd probably be nice if they did some of the work that the remasters got done, and some of that's just like, you know, give me some widescreen, give me some, you know, whatever.
For whatever reason, Square Enix will throw as much attention and love as they possibly can to Final Fantasy if it's got that in the name. And even though both Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross are beloved for different reasons, it's extremely weird to me that with them they're like, I don't know, give them the mobile port, or just throw a port together. Nobody cares. Who cares about Chrono Trigger? Yeah, it was the one of our RPGs that was on that Games as Art list, but who cares? Remaster all the Final Fantasies and give them a mobile game. They'll be fine. They don't get anything else. So I think it deserves better, but I'm happy to have this.
Okay, you'll take what you can get, and you're going to stream this as usual, so everybody can watch.
Yeah, we're going to beat it.
All right.
Technically, I should, if I want to do it proper, I should beat it multiple times, but we're not going to do that.
All right. Well, that sounds a little like just Resident Evil 2, Disc 2.
Yeah. Although not quite that level, because it's not a different game when you go through. It's just different options, different characters. You can't get all the characters on a single run. Yeah. But it is funny you mentioned that, Scott. It is like Resident Evil 2 in that, you know, some people have only beaten half of it.
I know. I wonder what percentage I belong to. Probably the higher one is my guess. if I had to guess.
Possibly.
Yeah, no, look, even the chat, they just say it straight out. Scott never finished Resident Evil 2 Remastered. They just say it. There's no bones, there's no punches being pulled. I understand what you guys think I did. What I did was avoid playing the same game twice. That's what I did.
No, it's a different game. It's completely
because there's a
different.
lady.
Totally...
There's a lady. Oh, I could have been.
No,
lady.
it's a whole other.
Yeah,
whole
you
other
start in
level.
a different spot. There's different enemies. There's different characters. You go to different locations. There's different bosses throughout the entire game.
Yeah, but there's still a ton of stuff you've done already. You've seen.
It's in the same city.
It's in Raccoon City. Well, wait,
Yeah.
It's not a new game plus. It's like basically it's the story of two characters and how they spend the same evening doing their own shit. So you'll be like, "Oh, I was there as this character earlier." So it's like references, right? But like stuff you do affects that. You're like, "Oh, if you left some turd on the ground, then the other character's like, where did this turd come from?" You know, like and you like because you played them both, but it's like a completely different story, like and with different bosses and stuff.
And just think about it this way, Scott, with how much time you've now put between the first half and if you were to go after the second half of that game, like you've probably forgotten most of it. So even the parts that are the same are gonna be brand new for you.
Yeah, until Mr. X shows up, and then I'm like, nope, I hate that guy.
Here's the fun part. He shows up at a completely different point in the game.
That's fun.
For the other half.
Sure, that is fun to have him around.
You know what is fun, though? You will like this. He permanently dies and earlier in the other playthrough.
Really? How much earlier?
Much earlier. You know when you went down to the sewers?
Yeah.
You know how he chased you through the sewers and then you went to the lab and he chased you through the lab?
Yeah,
he dies on the way to the sewers.
Okay, that I could... All right,
so
now we're talking.
He's only in the first third of the game.
Now we're talking. Freaking Mr. X can eat a turd. The one Bo talked about that turd. All right, let's move on. You played. How far are you in SteamWorld Dig? That game's great. You almost had me restarting that or playing a new fresh run through that just because I love that game and it's so good. Another game I did finish that, just not this year, but that game's great.
I'm not very far in it, but I wanted to put it on here because I mentioned playing SteamWorld Dig and starting there because I felt like I needed to at least see a little bit of it before I went to 2.
Yeah.
And I was on here and I was like, oh my gosh, Scott, the art of SteamWorld is so good. Yeah. Oh, what a beautiful game SteamWorld is. My wife looks at it all the time and says, oh, that game's beautiful. And I'm like, it is. I didn't know
how much better.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. SteamWorld 2 makes SteamWorld look like a butt.
Yeah,
that game is beautiful. Holy cow, that game is pretty.
Huge leap forward in the.
I couldn't believe how much better 2 looks. It's crazy. I was in the back of my mind, I was gonna go back and try and finish SteamWorld Dig, but I don't think I can go back now.
Yeah, it's hard to.
So night and day. How different they look.
It's hard to. If you played them years apart when they were developed, that's one thing. But if you're playing it in the middle and then you get a look at 2 is just a vast improvement over everything. And it was already a good game, but 2 is so much just in graphically, yes, but everything else too. Like it's just more depth. It's way more the kind of Metroidvania you're looking for. It's just that's an awesome game. 2 is so good.
Yeah, I'm digging it. Ha. So I did get killed by my little ghost friend that joins you in that game, though, and that kind of made me really angry more than it should have.
Yeah,
because you get this like antagonistic ghost friend that lives inside your body. Like I don't know what else to call him. Like he's a little digital. I'd call him friend, but he comes out at one point and he's like, hey, check out the view over here. I think there's something interesting. And you walk up and press a button. He's like, look at that. Hey, come a little closer. And you walk to the edge and he goes, hey, come out here. There's something really cool I want to show you. And if you jump out to where he is, you just fall to your death.
Yeah, you die because he's a dick. He's a dick.
Like, what an asshole.
No, he's a huge
dick.
He
sucks so bad.
He's a huge dick. But here's the thing. He basically he's sort of like, what's the Navi or whatever for Link? He's kind of like that.
Navi wanted Link to die at all times.
Yeah, he's a kind of a prick show. But just seeing that on our list today makes me want to fire that up again. I love that game so much. So good.
It's really, really good.
I'd have on my Switch.
And then just a little bit before the show, I started playing the most recent Prey.
Oh, wait.
The one with the mimics and whatnot.
I always forget which one's the recent one. Hold on. Prey game. It's not the one with the cowboy dude, right?
No, not that one.
Okay, so it's this one. Oh, okay. This is the Arcane Studios one. Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good game. 2017's Prey.
Yes.
Okay.
2017's Prey.
Yeah.
That game is cool as hell.
Yeah.
I slept on this game, and it reminds me of System Shock in ways. It's not quite as scary as I was hoping it would be, but it is good and it is tense. Like the conceit of the enemies, the base level enemies, which are called mimics, the idea is that they can take shape of anything in the environment. And it puts you in this really weird paranoid headspace because they aren't smart enough to be like super sneaky, where it's like, I was in a bathroom and I happen to look like a plunger over here in the corner, I'm fine. They always duplicate something that's nearby. So you just live in this world where it's like anytime you see two of the same thing near each other, that's when you get the red flag and you're like, oh God, one of these things is not real. And you start hitting it with your wrench and stuff. It makes you very paranoid and it's very cool. I kind of knew part of the surprise of like kind of the initial opening. I don't want to say what it is because I do think people should experience it. But even knowing that there was kind of a twist in the opening of the game, I still found it very cool to play with, especially once you unlock the ability to see how they did it and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just a lot of really cool things to that game. So I think I'm going to stick with playing it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm enjoying the mystery. And like I said, I enjoy like kind of a more modern System Shock 2 vibe that I'm getting from it of, you're getting data logs and clearly some bad stuff has happened and you're upgrading skill points. Like, do you want to be a hacker or an engineer or a combat specialist? Like, it's very, very cool. And it's on Game Pass. That's where I'm playing it. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah, a Microsoft-owned property now because it came with that Bethesda deal. Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised. So really liked it.
That's what makes I mean, I really liked that developer, and what's the one this year or last year that was a big deal? PS5 exclusive. What was it called? They're in the PC also, but you played it. It's the one where you keep redoing stuff, you keep dying.
Oh, Deathloop.
Deathloop. That's those guys. They also made those I can't think of any words tonight. What's the game where you sneak around and shank people?
Dishonored.
Dishonored 1 and 2.
Remember.
Jeez Louise.
Dishonored.
Freaking love Dishonored 2. That's such a cool game. But I think that dev is awesome, and that game reminded me the bit I've played of this version of Prey. It reminded me of like this is kind of what Half-Life would be now. Like,
yeah, it's got Half-Life vibes.
Very much so, yeah. So if that sounds interesting at all to anybody, it's on Game Pass. You should get it. All right, awesome. Bo, there's a huge list here of games Bo played. Huge. I don't even know where to start. Let's start
play some Valheim, but I'm still building stairs.
You're making stairs, right?
So we'll
like we found a new mountain and there's more stairs.
Nice. So we'll talk about. I mean, we'll do Elden Ring. I'm letting next week probably it'll be. I hope it's Stellaris. I really hope you end up playing that for some reason.
No, probably not.
You've already made your decision.
It's too much.
How much? Okay, so where are you in Elden Ring? Have you finished the thing?
I've been eyeballing Battle Brothers, and maybe you're just getting back to War Tales. But I mean, Elden Ring. What more is there to say about it?
I saw you found the three fingers, and you're going for the bad ending as quickly as possible. I see you.
Why is it a bad ending?
Is it a bad ending?
I don't know.
Like
maybe.
Like
did you get that ending? And then you were
no,
like,
I didn't get the 3-finger ending.
Okay.
I stuck with the 2 fingers. I didn't get greedy.
Okay.
I mean, I think is like I've not looked things up. So you probably finished the game, then looked up all the shit just to find out what you missed or what else could have happened, or
To be honest, I don't know. I heard that the 3-finger ending was the bad ending. That's what I heard. I don't even know if that's true.
It seems weird because I went down a giant hole to meet the 3 fingers. Like there's this big, it's a big brouhaha. Like I'm just like, let me go here. It looks cool. I had to take off all my possessions in order to walk through the flesh door. and inside were the three fingers, and the three fingers gave me a hug and made my eyes glowy.
Yeah.
And and I got a new mate. I'm not maidenless. The big thing is the game insults all the virgin gamers because they're like, "Oh, I see you're maidenless," like right at the start of the game,
Yeah.
and everyone's like, "Ouch, too close to home, game."
Yeah.
I've got a maiden.
Nice.
It's Melania does join you because you're maidenless to help you, but you can earn a maiden. I don't see how this is bad at all. I'm actually well on my way to become an Elden Lord with a fine maiden.
Yeah, with a maiden at your side. That's awesome.
Hyetta is my maiden.
Uh-huh.
And so, I mean,
Hardest
look,
boss in the game.
story, like, it's got good lore and good sense of place because of the lore. Story is stupid as hell. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not like, oh my god, the story in it. It's like, I am a finger. Would you like to? The devils and angels will weep, and you're like, okay, like this thing you want me to get. Where am I going? I will see you later. And like, so it's just,
It really
it's like RPG-ish, but you're like, at some point, you're like, yo, dude, where can I meet you? Like, I get that it wants to be mysterious about not giving away, you got to find things, but literally you're having dialogue with them. They're like, can you help me with this shit? And you're like, okay, how about a follow-up question, hero? Like, how about where can I meet you? Nope, they want you to figure it out. And I'm like, if you're defending that as good, like, I'm sorry, but it's not good. And
No,
I just think the story
already told you I played it as a yes man. Anything anybody presented me with, I just said okay.
That's why I did the thing. It's because I'm going in a dungeon. There's a boss at the end of the dungeon or something. That is what I'm doing. I'm not giving this any intellectual thought because nothing makes much sense, and I am not reading the text of every single item to put the world together. Yes, it's cool and add some flavor, but it's not exciting. Like, I'm not interested.
So the people last week that were like, I can't believe Bo keeps telling everybody how easy this game is. Those same people are going to be super stoked about how you've described the story to them today. So
I'm sorry, man. It's a great game, but you're sick with the overhype business. It's great, and I want more games to have big castles and cool goth. Like, there's stuff. I'm like, yes, I want more games to have cool castles, crazy dragons, mysteries, like all that stuff's great, but then you go too far. It's like, were you complimenting everything? And it's like, well, now wait a second. Wait a second. This is not perfection itself. There are some flaws here, and one is, the quest design is bad. It's bad. I'm sorry,
so.
It's not good.
I think you're wrong about a lot of things with Elden Ring.
Okay,
hold on.
Let me tell you this.
Hold on. Okay, go ahead.
You have to hear this.
Okay.
So Volcano Manor,
right.
There's a girl named Raya, right? And I got, she says some blah, 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 whatever. So I got this quest item for the Serpent's Amnion, which I did look this up because I have this quest item for her. Well, I killed Rykard, which means she disappears forever. So and if I didn't look it up, I have this quest item and the quest is gone. And I'm like, this is bad. Like, give me some way to finish this. I went to where they said that she was supposed to show up, and she doesn't show up. And I'm like, I guess it's just finished.
Yeah.
With just no fanfare. And if I didn't know
that's how the world works. If you kill somebody,
but I didn't kill Raya.
That you need to give an item to, you can't give an item to them.
No, I didn't kill Raya. I killed Rykard.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to make a claim that this game's for everyone. I'm not going to make a claim that this game is the hardest game ever. I'm sure as shit not going to say that it was the easiest game ever either. I think this game, it's the thing that makes this game smart. The thing that is praiseworthy about this game isn't to go, oh, it's revolutionized the way we should do questing in games. I don't think it has. But what they've done is they've created a game that can facilitate a good experience to a great experience, depending on what you want to put into it. Are you an insane lore buff that wants to know all the details about how this world works and follow all the threads? Yes, it's in there. You can do it. Can you get through the game just as easily ignoring all of that and saying yes to everything? Yeah, 100%. You can.
Yeah.
Like, one of the coolest quests, and I've actually heard they've made this less obscure because they wanted people to do it, but one of the coolest quests that happened was, and I'm pretty sure you've done this one too, Bo, is I was walking around and there was all of a sudden a guy that was just like, hey, can you see me? Hey, can you see me? And it turns out that there was this guy who got turned into a bush.
Yeah,
Or
Bach.
was high,
Yeah.
and I busted him out, and he was like, oh man, I wish I could give you something to thank you, but I can't because the seaside cave down there got invaded by guys, and I can't do anything. And he's like, maybe I can sneak in and get something for you. And I was like, all right, that'd be cool. And so I kept playing, and I was like, well, wait a minute, should I go to that seaside cave and see if he's there, like see if he's gonna bring me something? So I went down there, I got to the bonfire, and there he is laying there all hurt. And he's like, yeah, sorry, there's just too many bad guys in here. I couldn't get anything for you. So I was like, all right, well, I'm a tough adventurer. I'll go help you out. I'll go clear it. Now, none of this is popping up as accept this quest, go on this quest. Here's a tracking icon. Here's the thing. It's just him saying, this is where I want to go. Here's the problem. There's people there. I can't get you a reward. So I go in, I clear it, and I go back out and I go, cleared out the cave. You got a reward for me? And he's like, oh my gosh, you did it. You're so strong. Yeah, I'm going to go check it out. I'll go see what I can do for you. And he's like, I'm sure I'll find you. So I go on about my adventures. I get to another bonfire and he pops up and he's like, you did it. You cleared the quest. You cleared the cave out for me. I got this needle for you. And now it's a small thing, but you can alter your gear in that game. You can do tailoring options. Now he will do them for me. And so instead of costing runes, I get it for free. Like, it's a really small thing, but it's an organic quest where you just get something for paying attention. I don't think that's necessarily good or bad. I think it is what this game is. It might be bad for you if you want, a quest log and you want more logic to it. If you want to kill somebody and all of a sudden your quest log now reads this can't be achieved, or a menu pops up that says warning, by killing this NPC you will put an end to all of these quest chains. Like, I think there's merit to wanting that. I don't think people are crazy for wanting that, but I also think that creating a world where you can do what you want and have repercussions for it and discover it organically like that also has its reward without it just automatically being labeled as bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not really what I'm saying, but because I agree with everything you said. I think that's great. I don't think that's not the issue I have. But yes, I agree. I agree that there should be mystery and puzzle to solve, and not everything has to be spelled out. But some of the quest design is bad. Some of the quests fail without any information to the player. That Bach quest is probably not one of them. I'm not saying it's all overall bad, but it's like pretty shoddily done. Especially there's certain things that don't happen where you have to go to the zone, and the only way to update the area is to rest at the site of grace. So the Nepheli Lu in Kenneth Height, I managed to resolve it. I went to that room about 10 times, checked the throne room, because I was aware something was supposed to happen there. The one thing I didn't do, rest at the site of grace in that particular area to get the thing. I'm like, this is shit. Like, this is a shit. Like, there have been 100 games that do this right. You meet these quests, you meet these completion areas. So now we're going to update the game world to show it to you. But no, because I didn't do the rest at site of grace when I fast traveled there. It didn't do it. I'm like, like, just given that a lot of other studios are able to do this quite well, and that these guys do it, and we're gonna be defensive about our beloved game. I'm like, no, that's actually a shit thing. Like, I have a lot of examples of stuff like that where it's like, it doesn't add to the mystery of the game. It doesn't add to the world. It's just actually, no, it's 2022 and we've made a lot of video games, and there's some mysteries are good, but that's not a mystery. That's just being sloppy, in my opinion.
Well, so let me say this. I think they get their cake and eat it too, in a weird way, because I don't think either of you are wrong about your takes about this.
Well, no, John's right. The mystery's good.
Right.
I'm just saying they've actually programmed some quests in a way that it's not a mystery. It's just not well done.
It's just not it's not well done.
And
but my point is,
there's a subtle difference between not explaining things versus actually making the player do like having to do obtuse things, which requires you to look it up on Google, or you'll never figure it out.
Right. Well, this is what I mean, though. The reason they get their cake and eat it too is they've built a kind of mystique around their games that if it's bad design, the player thinks it's genius. And if it's genius, the player thinks it's genius. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
don't know. That's a blessing. I think if you're a game developer, they sound like perfectionists in a weird way. Like if they they need to get good feedback on this. I think
And I
that
mean, I think
I
it's
think my
proven that
feedback
they
is good.
listen. Like, that game did not have an NPC tracker when it launched. It does now. Like,
Yeah.
obviously,
Sure.
there is some degree of them going, oh yeah, that probably should be in the game. I mean, like when this game first came out, I hope you remember where you saw so and so when you met them, because at which I ran into. There was a lady I met. She gave me a hint for a quest. I didn't hit that thing until like 10 hours later, and then they said, "Hey, go back and tell her that you found me." I was like, I don't remember where the hell she was. That was a long game and a lot of map ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you to save my life where I found that lady. And I, on my first playthrough, I don't think I ever found her again because I couldn't remember. And obviously they must have agreed with that, because the same patch that destroyed my build, they added a little thing where when you meet someone, they put an automatic icon on the map that says this is where that person was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have that. I don't think that's. I think if it's something you haven't discovered, then yeah, fair enough. Don't put it on the map. But like Valheim has a way for me to put a sticker on the map and then write my own note. I mean, I could write it on a notepad, or it's 2022 and we have all kinds of productivity tools. Can I and there is a way to put a sticker on the Elden Ring map, but no way for me to type my own note. Valheim's really spoiled me in that way. I love to be able to just type my own note. That way, I don't have to go to a notepad.
I like that too. That's a cool.
I
feature.
think all games, at least PC games, like if you're giving me a mini map, put some text fields in there for me to like also fill out my own note. Like
Yeah,
you know,
like an old manual. You used to do in a manual, but in this case, you get to do it in the world because the game will freaking support it.
I just think that like people lose their minds a little bit because they're just speaking, and maybe just social media interactions too, where there isn't enough time to really elaborate on everything. But yes, being mysterious and obtuse and hiding, like there's like 3 dungeons in this game where like you could be looking right at it, but if you're far enough away, you won't see the door. Like they most most games will put a candle or a torch or something where even if you don't realize it, it's signaling you there's an activity here to do in the game.
Yeah.
This game like hides shit. I think it took me 5 hours to find War Dead Catacombs. Was it hidden? No, it just looks brown like the rest of the big ass brown wall. And I was like, holy shit, like they did this on purpose. They want you to look right at the dungeon and not see it. And I'm like, respect. I love that. Like, that's awesome. Because when you find it, you're like, "Wow, I finally found it!" It's amazing.
That's the one where you fight Radan, right? Like down
It's
there.
Radan in that big desert.
So,
I think you were on stream when I was
yeah.
like wandering back and forth in this open. I'm like, I know it's here.
Yeah.
I know
and
it's
I
here.
think I told you it's not down there because I thought I had looked and seen everything down there and didn't see it.
It
I
literally
also
looks
have
like
a
wall.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Because I finally found it, like you did. I finally found it, and I was like, somebody should put a damn note on the ground that points people that says it's right here. And I went over and I got ready to do my note, and mysteriously, at that particular moment, a bunch of notes appeared that weren't there before. I certainly didn't get any help finding it from then, but as soon as I went to write my own note saying like, hey, there's a dungeon ahead, it's right here, the thing you're looking for is over here, mysteriously at that moment all the notes appeared. And sure enough, people made a giant arrow out of notes pointing at the damn cave. We aren't the only ones that had a hard time.
I didn't see any notes, and I was in the desert. There's an actual item that you can use that lets you pop up more notes. I was like chucking it around. I'm like, notes, well, give me some notes, and nothing was helping.
Yeah,
no new notes showed up.
I think
it was pretty wild. Like, so
there.
I appreciate that the game does this. The game has enough content that even if you miss that stuff, you're still playing like a game that's worth it. But like, I like the mystery and obtuse about it. But we gotta have some real talk about the things that can do better. And one is like they can do way better on quests. I'm sorry, but like they that preserve the mystery, but just make it so like. It's an RPG. You're talking to the guy. Yeah, they're a little loopy. Some of the NPCs tell you where to go. Latena says like go to the thing in the Hallig tree, and when I got to the mountaintop of the giants, she whispers, "Hey, there's Castle Sol, buddy. That's where we need to go." But I finished Castle Sol last night, and I didn't get anything from Lieutenant. Like, am I supposed to drop you off here? Are we done? Can I get an acknowledgement from you that, like, nothing? And I'm like, then I'm wondering, I'm like, am I missing something? And they're there for 5 hours trying to figure out if this, I'm supposed to do something with the summon. And I'm like, I don't enjoy this. I'm like, I hate that feeling of like, just give me like a great job. Like, still put secrets in the game, but like, just give me a thumbs up. Like, there's just
something. Yeah.
They leaned a little too hard on stuff that really isn't necessary to be a mystery, and they can still totally get away with doing obtuse, mysterious things. I think is where like that feedback comes in.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, and I don't disagree with that. I think, to be clear, the part I was disagreeing with, which apparently was a misunderstanding, was it sounded like I didn't like the way it handles this, therefore its questing is universally bad. And I don't think it is, but I do think there are things
maybe it was a bit hyperbolic on my part, but
that could be done better for sure. I mean, you have this lady that's supposed to be traveling with you, and she only shows up every now and then, and all they would really need to do is have her show up a little more often at a site of grace and be like, "Hey, remember when somebody said to do something? Go do it." Like, it doesn't even have to be overt, and it can still be optional, because I do stand by that this game is good about letting you opt in to certain things. Like, do you want to have an easier time? Well, here's summons. Do you want to have an easier time? Well, here's this. Like, they can do the same thing with a tip system. Like, do you want to talk to your maiden and find out like a reminder on something you might have been working towards? Like, I think that's something they could have easily put in.
I have a question for you. Did you find out about the statue secret in Lydell?
What's the statue secret? Oh, doing a gesture?
There's this incantation you got to cast to learn a secret about a statue.
I don't think I did that.
I wonder if it comes up in the ending or not, because all I got, it was like a From Software message. It wasn't from other player in front of a statue in Lydell. And then, so I figured out how to pass it. And it just gives you a new message. There's no like item, nothing fancy.
That's weird.
But it's kind of a huge lore thing. So I'm just wondering if it comes up at the end. It's about Radagon.
Oh, it could be. I think I did know that from what that message said from watching
what Radagon. What
the hell just happened? Videos that I watched when I beat the game.
Yeah, like what Radagon really is. Because then I told Goldmask, that guy that just stands there, and Brother Corman's like, "What a great guy! I'm documenting all of his stuff," but he literally is just standing there frozen.
Yeah,
it's like his finger movements mean that the gods are angry. But the guy he's recording is just standing there frozen. I'm like, that kind of stuff's pretty cool. Like, I like that stuff. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
speaking of games that you have to use the word weird to describe.
Yeah, Elden Ring's pretty freaking
lore
weird.
of that game.
I appreciate.
I like the weird part. Like I said, that's why I say like the lore and the world is good. It's just like the way they're doing their questing. They're just like leaning a little too hard on it's obtuse where they don't need to.
You gave us tonight's title, Core 309, the Three Fingers ending. So that's going in.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's probably a way to reverse the ending, or can you choose the ending? I don't know.
I think there is. I think the whole deal, I think the reason I think it's bad is because what's her name tells you she's going to kill you if you keep going down that path.
Oh, well, that's an easy game. I'll kill her no problem. Like, seriously, like, watch my stream. There was a frost drag, and it took me 3 tries. But everything else was one shot. I do this thing now. I go 1 shot, 1 kill if I kill it the first time. I got more 1 shot, 1 kills than I do. I did Commander Neal. I was complaining about having to fight 2 knights at once. It's so hard. And then there was a boss and 2 knights. Commander Neal. I was like, oh no.
Still got him.
I think that wasn't first shot. I think that was 2 tries. But still, pretty easy.
Pretty good. I feel like you're doing better than most. All right.
I guess so.
So there you go.
Well, I mean, I
magic user.
I think he might end this game as the only person to get 100% on Elden Ring. I think.
No,
I think that's the direction Bo's headed. Every time I've watched him stream, he's somewhere I've never seen before, and I'm like, where the hell is?
It'd be funny if you got there just by being the way you play. Like you'll suddenly one day get an achievement that goes, oh, congratulations.
It's going to be 99.9%. I didn't finish Ria's quest because I bugged it out. I killed Rykard too early, as well as some of the PvP contracts.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't have 100% on the game.
I believe in you, Bo. I do. All right. It's time for this.
That's a good question.
Email time. talktothecore@gmail.com. Couple of these. One's really funny, and I wanted to read it. This is from, let's see, Gutter is a Tool. Sent this one in. Eric. His name is Eric in real life.
Cool.
His subject line was, "You guys are dicks."
Nice.
And then I was nervous opening this. And I opened it, and it says, "Dear Core Show, you guys are dicks. I'm a recent convert to the show after the timely demise of The Instance. I had been listening to that show since Single Digits with Andrew. At first, I didn't think the show would be for me. It was very casual. I'm a very casual gamer who usually stuck to Blizzard titles because they usually release Mac versions of their games, with the exception of Overwatch and Diablo 2 Remaster. I had begrudgingly bought a Windows gaming laptop late last year to dabble in some other games after listening to your show for the past month or so. I now have a Game Pass subscription, my first ever Xbox Series X. Anyway, you have cost me a lot of money, dicks. Also, I just started supporting you guys on Patreon. Thanks for the show, though. P.S. You mentioned the Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion game was on last week's show. I've been playing through, struggling with this game with my 5-year-old because he's been dying to play since seeing a playthrough on YouTube. While it has been great spending time with my son and playing a game that we both enjoy, that game is frustrating as hell. PPS, dicks. So thanks for dicks. Yeah. I'm happy that we're dicks for you.
Need an easier game like Elden Ring.
Yeah. You know what? You might not be wrong. If your theory on Elden Ring is actually easy is true, there's no way that it's harder than that Mickey Mouse
I might just be good at the game. Like, again, and content. Because whenever I die on stream, people are like, it's an easy game. Like, I get trolled all the time. Like, every time I mess up or like some easy monster kills me.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't die and it's not challenging. It's just, it's not as hard as the trolls say it is.
Yeah.
You know, the hard
Yes, but you are getting flack constantly for it because you are being the exact same level of toxic in the other direction. There are people who are struggling with this game, Bo. There are people who are struggling with this game going, oh man, I tried so hard and it took me 30 tries, but I got it and I feel good about myself. And then you're like, easy game. Such an asshole. Like, it's like.
But I mean, if I kill something first shot, what am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
That was very hard. But not really. It was fake.
It is some anti-troll.
I'm being a bit of a dick about it, but it's not for people who look. Difficulty is a sliding scale, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. And I acknowledge that. It's for the troll. This is for the trolls. And if you listen to the show, you know I'm saying it's an easy game because it's to temper those people who think they've had a big accomplishment because they're good at the game.
Well, see, that's what I told people on Discord. I said the problem with Bo is that he's saying it aimed at a very particular audience that doesn't give a shit, and the people that do give a shit are like, why is he saying this? But
yeah, I mean, if you play this game because you're, whatever, there's all kinds of people that have different skill levels. If you're someone that's playing this game and you take 30 tries and you find it hard, then I'm not saying it's an easy game. You should get good. I'm just saying, like, all the people saying get good need to sit down. That's what this is about. So if this isn't for you, and if you still don't like hearing it, I don't know what to tell you. It might be a little sensitive.
I love it. The emails are going to be great this week. I'm stoked to get them.
Anyway. I played Heroes of the Storm at diamond level. Like, my ability to play games is quite good.
It is good.
You are a pro player, but it is. I acknowledge that it is just that I have some skill and talent.
You have skill toward it. You absolutely do.
So this is me talking to people at that level, punching at the same level to people there.
Yeah, you're not punching down. You're
punching.
Can't
be funny and
parallel.
Disclaimer it like this is an easy game for people of a certain level at skills 273 to 742. Just doesn't work. I'm not going to do it. But it's not for you.
There was a lot of numbers.
There's a lot of numbers.
All I'll say is this: is if you ever feel like, if you ever feel down about it, just go watch Bo stream it. You'll see him die. You'll see him get confused.
Poke fun of me.
You'll see it.
Yeah.
It's not hard. Like, I watch
time.
him go through places I've never seen, and I get annoyed about that because I'm like, God damn it, how did Bo find this? But then he'll be like, why are all these skeletons popping out of the ground? There's got to be something around here, and I know where it is. And I sit there and I go, finally, something I know that Bo doesn't know.
This Bo arrogance is, like, I acknowledge it. Like, people are watching my stream, and they're like, oh, this boss coming up so hard. and then I'll be like, kill it one shot, and they'll be like, well, I don't feel great about that. Like it took me 100 tries, and they'll be like, a great item's coming up, and I look at it and be like, shit item, like I can't help it. Like that's my reaction, but I can't help it. Like it would be disingenuous to pretend otherwise,
right? But
I'm
the
not trying to
important thing
be a
is,
dick about it.
yeah.
The dick part is for the other dicks.
Yeah. But the important thing to note here is you're really enjoying a game they're also enjoying, and you've just got different takes on it. So everyone's loving Elden Ring. So everyone wins. It's fine. It's all good.
It's all
Elden Ring's a
fine.
great
I
game.
think I'm just having a bit of fun with it, So
Yeah.
I'm sorry for being a dick to you.
No, he doesn't really mean
writer.
we're dicks. His tongue is firmly in cheek. He was kidding.
Well, he's buying all kinds of. I feel like he's like, I'm buying all this paraphernalia because of you guys. Stop. I got an Xbox. I got Game Pass. I got Mickey Mouse now. Why do I even have
Mickey Mouse?
You guys talked about it. I bought it.
You're going to be a big gamer now, and I'm proud of you. Well done, Gutter as a tool, a.k.a. Eric. I think that's awesome, and I'm happy to be a dick in your life. All right? It's fine. We'll give you the three-finger finish later on. All right, moving on. Will wrote in. Short one here. He says, hi, Scott, John, and Bo. Quick question about quick opinion, rather, in the form of a question to you guys. Bad launch/optimization issues aside, would Cyberpunk 2077 have been a significantly better game if the devs had simply made the weather mostly rain? For me, the game has been revitalized and gets way better /closer to Blade Runner with the weather mod. This is on PC. Just curious as to your collective thoughts. Love every episode you guys put out. Thanks, Will. I've seen that mod in a video. I haven't done it myself. It does change how that game feels. It feels like a proper Blade Runner. We've effed the climate so bad it just rains 24/7 kind of jive that you get out of Blade Runner. It definitely does add that. Now, does it revitalize the game? Your mileage may vary, but I don't know if either of you have tried this. Have either of you tried that mod?
I haven't tried the mod. I think in my heart, that's what I wanted the game to be, right? Whether that's fair or not, because this isn't the Blade Runner video game. This is Cyberpunk 2077 set in fictional California. I don't know if it's fair to go, why aren't you more like Blade Runner, not Blade Runner game? But at the same time, I think it was the game that a lot of us were expecting to get. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't to a degree. I think I would probably like the game at least a little better if it was a little bit moodier and darker and maybe wetter.
It depends. Yeah, I think you're totally right, John. It depends on your experience of Cyberpunk. I mean, like I think of there's a book I read a lot in my teenage years. Read a couple times, Virtual Light by William Gibson. That's very much it's not a rainy ass place. It's a California based book about AR glasses, which exist now, funnily enough. But the time that it was written, that was a science fiction idea. And, everyone's got a hold of these glasses that tell you information about things. And I'm like, it's Google Glass. And, it was sunny. Like, or it was not, the weather was not a part of the mood in reading that book from what I remember. I kind of remember it being, picture California.
Wasn't Neuromancer Neuromancer's his big one, right? That one.
Neuromancer was the first novel. Like he'd written novellas at first, and Neuromancer was the big one. And even that, I remember cyberspace and keyboard cowboy stuff like from that. I don't really remember a place, but visually speaking, you do think of Blake. John's right. You do think of Blade Runner. You do think of Deus Ex. Another very moody game in its modern iteration. So yeah, the weather. But yes, I mean, there's a cyberpunk book. That Rudy Rucker's a big cyberpunk writer.
Yeah.
He wrote Software, Hardware, Wetware trilogy, The Hacker and the Ants. Hacker and the Ants in particular is it's about a game developer. I think it's a game developer, but it's about like virtual worlds, and it's California as hell. All the protagonists are like, middle-aged schlubs, programmer schlub kind of people, and it's sunny California. Like, it's Silicon Valley-esque, I guess, before Silicon Valley was really what it is today.
Yeah.
And like, it counts as a cyberpunk genre.
Hacker and the Ants. I've never heard of this.
Those are great books, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah, they're short. They're pretty short books too. So if you want some good cyberpunk, that's like pre what you would think of cyberpunk now. And I think Bruce Sterling wrote the original book that the genre was named off of too.
Nice.
I haven't read that. Was it Bruce Sterling?
Oh,
maybe it was someone
now
else.
You can see how
I can't
Bo's
remember.
Doing. My wife's here.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. So you can ask
favorite
about Bo
cyberpunk
now.
book. Go.
Oh, they can't hear you. Hold on,
And
I'll
how's
turn
the
it up.
baby at John's house?
John's baby's doing good, right, John?
Oh yeah, baby's doing great.
Okay, now you can hear them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bo, do you have any questions for Ken?
We're talking about cyberpunk books. Favorite cyberpunk.
Yeah. Do you have a
book?
favorite
Go.
cyberpunk book or
Or
show?
film.
I like Blade Runner 2049.
I like Blade Runner.
I introduced her to Blade Runner. She was my first. I was her first. It's all right. I told him tonight about where Taylor was conceived. My sister's bed. Yeah. It's nice to see you.
It's
there.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's okay. We all have
Thank
embarrassing
you.
stories.
All right. We'll see you later. Sorry. This
All
is
right,
podcasting. This
yeah,
is great.
So, anyways, would cyberpunk be better if there's more rain? No.
No.
This is what I'm
Okay, that's interesting. I feel like maybe tonally I would prefer it, but I don't think it's going to save the game. The game's got its own problems that I don't know if they can be overcome by a little bit of environmental rain.
I mean, Keanu Reeves really, takes he makes up for the lack of rain.
Yeah. Which what a compliment.
He's really good at it. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, his character, his voice acting, his character, it's great. The story's great in Cyberpunk. The story's not the issue.
I love that. It's a great thing to say about somebody. You overcome what'd you say? The
Cyberpunk or Keanu Reeves makes up for the lack of rain.
up for the lack of rain.
It sounds like an actual diss, but in the Cyberpunk context, it's a compliment.
No,
I need him here because as somebody in Arizona, I need something to make up for the lack of rain. So maybe Keanu is the secret.
Yeah, you guys need a little wet where you live all the time.
What do you think, Scott? Have you played much of Cyberpunk?
I played enough I haven't since all the problems. I keep updating it and looking at it on my hard drive and going, yeah, baby, I'm coming to you next or something. Then I just don't play it. So I will get around to it at some point, but I'll probably install that mod because I do like that better. I don't want sunny Cyberpunk. To me,
combat kind of blows. It's the same thing I had a problem with Witcher games. CD
Yeah.
Projekt Red not great at combat. Sorry.
Oh, the combat is bad.
It feels weird.
Yeah, like Witcher 4, I'm just excited. I just need them to address that. Like, we really dug deep in the combat.
Yeah, the animation's good. The feel, like when you're like, oh, oh, there you are, we're gonna kill you, and you're like, sweet, I can't wait to cut these guys up. But then it's like X, axy
just
sign,
slashy and
done.
not
Like
great.
It's just so uninteresting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. They could do a lot more, and we now live in a time. I think they can't actually get away with doing it simply, given all the stuff that things like Elden Ring. But even other big open world games like
Batman or Spider-Man, like they
exactly
have interesting, like even just the combo mechanic, like
right.
It's the combat in that game is literally like do a few moves, then have a quick time event if you press the final move at the right time, and here's a splish of fire.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's not the appeal of the game is not in the gameplay mechanics of fighting. It's in the story.
I mean, one of the things I really like about the Spider-Man playthrough that I didn't notice the first time as much is they've done such a good job of mixing in a bunch of those things. So it's got kind of the Batman combo or, fighting system where you can do lots of crazy combos. It helps that you got a web shooter and that you can jump high and all those things. You can create all kinds of crazy combinations of things, but also they will put you in situations where you just fought like that, but then a helicopter grabbed you on its way out and now you've got to do 3 quick time things. And then you got to do some kind of rapid fire trigger thing, and then you're going to fight normally again, and they do it so fluidly and so well that it never feels weird. It's not like it's not like Chris Redfield punching a rock. It's better than that. It's
quick time events are good too, but just the meat and bones of the thumb candy. You gotta have some like reversals. I think that's what keeps drawing me back to Elden Ring so much is that it's very contemplated how mechanics work for fighting in there, and it's rewarding now that I know how to block properly. Blocking is a thing, guard breaking is a thing, counters, dodge rolling, and different things affect it. It's mechanically deep. It's rewarding to learn. Part of the reason why I say it's an easy game, I've been practicing for 200 hours. Forget leveling up. I'm just understand the game better, and that's rewarding. Witcher's just like press some X, like here we go. It's X simulator time. Like
I feel like Witcher, you had to unlock the combat to feel okay. Like it never even really felt great, but I feel like you had to unlock so many perks just to get the combat to where it's like, okay, this now plays like a game I want to play. That shouldn't be your unlock. You should have a good base level and then build on it in a fun way, as opposed to, oh boy, I don't know if Witcher 3 was like this. I don't remember which Witcher game it was, but I know there was one where it was like you had to unlock dodging or blocking or something like that. That shouldn't be something behind an ability wall. Like that should be default, and then you should make a cool way to make that cooler.
They've
Like,
carried on this tradition too in Cyberpunk. There is a perk in the Cyberpunk tree that is when you're in water, you're harder to hit. You know, you're like kind of good at. There are
yeah.
no missions that take place in water. There's no side mission. There is no content that takes place in water. Why don't you take an ability that's got nothing to do with the game? There, you know, like that's the level of where like CD, and I feel that's present in the combat system of Witcher, just what you're describing. Like it's not their wheelhouse.
Nope.
Not by a long shot.
No, they had to change it. What was it? Remember that they changed it with a patch where you moved different if you wanted to.
Yeah, that was Witcher 3. That was the movement because people didn't like the floaty movement because it prioritized animation.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So there was like a ramp up to turning and stuff like that, and it kind of made him feel tanky with how he moved.
Yeah, that was those are weird times. Beautiful game, great story, bad combat. Hopefully they address that. All right. Thank you for your emails, both of y'all. Will, in particular, did we answer his question? We did. We all like Rain. Rain is great.
Would it be better with Rain?
Maybe.
Yeah, I would like Rain, but
marginally better with Rain.
The stuff that could really be better is not. The Rain's the least.
I'll say it this way: it's aesthetically better with Rain.
Yes.
There you go.
Sure.
May not be a better game overall, but definitely looks better and fits my vision of what Cyberpunk should be better. All of us Blade Runner fans will probably agree. All right, there you go. Keep sending those emails. talktothecore@gmail.com. That's talktothecore@gmail.com. We'd love to hear more from you and your thoughts and your feelings and, you know, how wrong you think Bo might be about the get good stuff or whatever. You tell us how you feel. I think I'm coming around. I think I agree with Bo on a lot of that stuff. Is that controversial to you at home? I'm fishing for emails. Send us your emails. talktothecore@gmail.com. All right, I think that's going to do it.
You got enough controversy with your lack of finishing games. Save some for the rest of us.
You're not wrong about any of that. I am finishing that Castlevania game, John. I'm finishing that. I'm pretty close.
Yeah, with the Soma Cruise.
Yeah, I'm finishing these games from 2003. I'm doing that.
There you go.
Anyway, everything else I start and will not finish for another 20 years. So let me know what you think then. Anyway, patreon.com/TMS. Gosh dang it. Don't go there. That's not where you want to go. I mean, you can go there. It's a good show.
Too.
It is, but my brain's broken. It's patreon.com/core show that you want to support. And by doing so, it keeps the show on the air. It keeps rad stuff happening. And all you got to do is go over there to read all about it and find out why you might want to be a patron of ours. That's patreon.com/core show. frogpants.com/core for everything else. Give us reviews wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love that. That helps us get discovered. And follow us on Twitter. Bo's got things to say at Bo Schwartz. You'll hear John over at John_Jagger. I'm at Scott Johnson. The show's at Core Pod. And be here every Thursday when we do the show. Twitch.tv/frogpants. Live, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. Let's rip around the table and find out some words of wisdom. Let's start with John.
Hi, everybody. John here. We talked a lot about finishing today, whether that's in the kitchen, in your sister's bed, games from, previous generations or Resident Evil 2 the rest of the way. But keep in mind, it's not always about finishing. Sometimes it's about the journey you took to get there. Make sure you take time for yourself to stop and appreciate where you are, not just where you're going.
I think that's really good advice. Sound advice. Bo, try to top that. What do you got?
I can't top that. Press Y to cast Ignite.
Well, you inadvertently topped it. Nicely done. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Go play some fun games so we can talk about them again next week. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
I'll open that vein for you.
I don't remember what that's from.
Is that from Elden Ring?